Hello and welcome to WCBN Sports' presentation of Michigan football. I'm Alex Drain, joined by Amir Bektas and Andy Laidlaw here for today's game between Michigan and Wisconsin from the Big House. Wisconsin number 13 in the country, and they've only played one game after a couple weeks out with COVID outbreak, so a lot of questions in this game. Michigan coming off back-to-back losses. A lot at stake here today.
Yeah, it's a big game for the Wolverines. Obviously, this is not the season that they wanted to get off. It's not the start they wanted to get off to. Tough loss against Michigan State. You lose a rivalry game like that, and then you followed up with a really, really bad performance in Indiana. You got to get on the right foot, and if there's an opportunity to do that, it's here tonight. You're facing a top 10 team, a Wisconsin team that they've only played one game, and the one game that they have played has been a really, really good performance against Illinois. So this is an opportunity for Michigan to get back on the right foot, and if it happens, then things are going to settle a lot down more here in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, big game tonight at the Big House with Wisconsin and Michigan. We really don't know what to expect from Wisconsin tonight. They've been out for 2 weeks with COVID. On the other side, Michigan coming off 2 straight losses. It's going to be an interesting one to see what happens.
Two teams getting ready for the contest. Michigan wearing their standard home uniforms, maize and blue. Wisconsin in all white road uniforms, just like they did 2 years ago here at the Big House. Second straight night game in Ann Arbor between Michigan and Wisconsin. About 90 seconds to cook off.
Yeah, some keys for Michigan tonight that I'm going to be watching for is going to be the line, the offensive line for Michigan. Can they hold their ground to open up that run game for Michigan? Because if you go back to Michigan's success, which was against Minnesota, the running game was a big key for them. If they can establish a run game tonight, they'll be able to open up the receivers and kind of give Milton a little more confidence in this game.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, Amir. Throughout the season, Michigan has kind of had this 4 running back rotation with Corum, Charbonnet, Haskins, and Chris Evans. I kind of want to see Michigan find one running back that gets in rhythm and then continuously pound that guy the rock. Hassan Haskins, I think, has been the best running back out of the backfield. If you continue to pound that guy the rock, if he gets hot early, I think you'll see more dividends in that rushing game for Michigan.
Referees meeting at midfield. They did the coin toss a few moments ago, and now the referee huddle breaks. They all head to their respective spots. Looks like Michigan will be kicking off. Jake Moody walking out there. And Wisconsin indeed in receiving position. Ball will be placed down at the 35-yard line. There are a few fans here, but those are all relatives of the players, no random bystander fans.
It's going to be a big day for the fake noise guys here at U of M trying to get that crowd noise up, hopefully a little bit, get a little excitement going in the stadium, but it's hard, man. It's a different atmosphere. The Big House is known for having that 112,000 seated stadium with people going crazy, and without it, it's just not the same thing. So we'll see if Michigan gets a better performance of a home game than they did against MSU.
So here we run up and the opening kickoff, a high looping kick that will be deposited right at the 1-yard line. Wisconsin, Stephon Bracey's going to try and run it out, finds a little bit of a hole, spins around at the 25, got some room, cut it back at the 30, and he'll go down at the 33 or the 34.
Yeah, really, really curious to see how Michigan's going to come out in this first possession. We talked about Aiden Hutchinson and Kwity Paye being out for this game, so can Michigan, a team who in the last 2 games has not generated 1 sack, can they pressure Graham Mertz? Graham Mertz, the guy who dominated 20 of 21 against Illinois. Can Michigan make him feel a little more rushed in this game? That's going to be key for the Wolverines.
Mertz had a lot of easy passes in that first contest against Illinois. His first 10 or so were all screen variety, and Wisconsin was able to get a lot of room. They'll line him up under center here in the I formation from the 34-yard line. 1st and 10 Wisconsin. They bring Danny Davis, the third, across the formation, and now line it up, and here's a quick handoff. Just running to the outside as Nakia Watson cuts it in, and he'll get close to a first down. Looks like a 9-yard pickup.
Yeah, great pickup right there for Wisconsin. I expected them to throw the ball in the air on the first play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of, Wisconsin, they've always been that bread and butter run team. Great offensive line, have always had a great running back. Obviously, that hole is it's a big hole without Jonathan Taylor this year, so it's going to be big for Wisconsin to get the run game going. But I agree, Amir. I was curious to see if they're going to throw a run in the first play.
2nd and 1, same formation. Jumbo set. 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 2nd and 1, same formation. Jumbo set Mertz under center. Now they motion around. Davis comes across the formation again. We'll give it to Watson again. This time he cuts outside, and he'll be dropped for a loss. Really nice tackle there from Vincent Gray, and a flag came down. Might have been an illegal formation on that movement by Wisconsin pre-snap.
Yep, looks like illegal formation. You can't. People that come in motion cannot have their forward momentum going towards the line of scrimmage when they're in motion. It sort of looks like that's what may have happened on that play.
Yeah, Badgers already walking backwards, so they anticipate it will be on them. Yep, illegal shift is the call. That'll back them up 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 6.
Again, this is a big thing going from last game, Indiana, to this game against Wisconsin. Michigan really, really needs to cut down on those offside penalties and overall defensive penalties for the team. I mean, when you go offsides 5 times in a single game, that also doesn't just show how bad the team is performing. That's a discipline. If you have 5 offsides in a game, that's not a good look for your defense.
Mertz comes out in the shotgun this time. And now another big change right before the snap. They bring 2 men across. Now a totally different formation. He's still in the shotgun, though. Takes the snap, will dump it off into the flat, trying to run for the first down and stretching out for it. It was very close. And
looks like they're calling him maybe a little short.
Yeah, just a tiny bit short, perhaps. Brad Hawkins on the tackle. It'll be 3rd and inches.
Big third down play here for the Wolverines in Wisconsin to start the game. I expect this to be 4-down territory, though. The way Wisconsin plays football, they can bully, get their way 1 yard. Get 2 chances at it. I expect Wisconsin for this to be 4-down territory.
3rd and about 1/3 of a yard. Mertz under center again, pre-snap movement. Ferguson, the tight end, moves across. Now another man comes across the formation, and Mertz will sneak it himself. He got about 3 yards standing up and then got just planted. Couldn't tell what Michigan guy hit him, but Mertz was just basically running free, had no resistance at the line of scrimmage until he got to the 2nd level, and then he got popped by a linebacker.
Yeah, it didn't look like that was the original play call, but he must have saw something down there, and he just snuck through the middle.
Yeah, no one in the A-gap. He got all by himself right up the middle, and then again, trying to see that number of who hit him hard. But regardless, 1st and 10 Wisconsin, 12:38 to go in the first quarter. No score on the opening drive. Now they're at the Wisconsin 48, 1st and 10. Play action. Mertz drops back to pass. Pressure comes. He's going to spin out of the sack. Try to step up, and he'll get about 1 yard or 2 to midfield. And now there's a flag down behind the play in the area of where he was, the attempted sack was. It was a corner blitzer coming off the edge. Kemp eventually stopped him once Mertz tried to scramble. We'll see what the referees have to say.
Yeah, just on that play, really, really good pocket presence there by Graham Mertz. He felt John Ross coming off the blind side and spun to the inside, broke free. Really, really good pocket presence for a first-year starter.
Yeah, for a first-year starter, I mean, he's only had 1 game so far, and with COVID throwing him off, you want to put, if you're Michigan's defense right now and Don Brown, you want to put as much pressure on him right now. You want to make him feel uncomfortable. You want to make this a long, long night for him.
And the penalties were holding on both teams, which will offset, will redo 1st down and 10 from the 48. And again, as Andy mentioned, penalties an issue for Michigan in their last game against Indiana, also against Michigan State here at the Big House 2 weeks ago. We'll see how that develops. 1st and 10 again, pistol formation. Mertz comes out with the tight end Ferguson offset, and then tight end Ritchie there as well. Another man comes across the formation. This will just be a simple handoff, trying to cut forward for a couple yards as Nakia Watson picks up maybe 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Man, I know we're only 5 or 6 plays deep in this game, but just looking at the line of scrimmage so far, you can already see there's a huge advantage for Wisconsin. You see the line of scrimmage starting 2 yards back every single time there's an initial push on that offensive defensive line. So that's something to watch the rest of the game. When you give Wisconsin that just a little bit of space, their running backs, their offensive line, it's always a bad recipe for the defense. So Michigan, Carlo Kemp, Donovan Jeter, they're going to have to shore up a little bit on the defensive side.
Yeah, the ends are something to watch as well for Michigan with both starters out. Mertz comes out in the shotgun, running back to his right, 4 wide receivers. Mertz gets ready to throw, fires in the slot, and it is incomplete. Nice pass break up there. Vincent Gray got a hand in on it. Slant route, and he broke it up. Now it'll be 3rd and 6.
Vincent Gray had a lot of hands on the receiver right there. It looks like the referees are going to let them play today, and that's what you want to see because Don Brown, that's how he coaches his defensive backs, and you don't want to see those calls. You don't want to give it to the referee to decide this game.
And again, those type of plays gave Michigan a lot of trouble against MSU. How many holding and defensive pass interference calls did we see in the game where MSU would throw the ball deep and they would get a penalty on Michigan?
3rd and 6 is what it says on the scoreboard. It's really 3rd and 7. Ball at the Michigan 49. Wisconsin needs the 42. Mertz takes the shotgun snap. He's going to flip it out into the flat, and that throw is way too high. Over the head of his intended receiver. He had a running back to the side of him, and he just put it right over his head. That'll be 4th down, and Michigan holds strong on their first defensive possession.
Really, really poor execution there for Wisconsin. So they ran a screen out to the left. Just a simple flat screen where the running back, typically in a screenplay, you wait for the offensive lineman to get out in front of you, then you follow your offensive lineman. Well, the running back jetted out right away. So even if he receives that ball, he's out in front of his offensive lineman. Their offensive linemen are not going to be able to block any defensive players coming towards the ball for Michigan. So even if that pass is completed, I think Michigan gets that stop.
And the punt is away for Wisconsin. It's going to go over the head of the man back deep for Michigan and goes into the end zone. So it'll be a touchback. Michigan will take it at the 20.
So the defense for Michigan did their job, kept Wisconsin off the scoreboard. You know, they put some pressure on the quarterback. Now let's see what Joe Milton can do in this offense.
And I thought Milton looked okay against Indiana last week. Took a lot of hits into the ribs, and Michigan's still going to be without tackles. Ryan Hayes and Jalen Mayfield. Some guys are going to have to step up on that line for Michigan.
Yeah, we're only 3 games in. Joe Milton has only had 3 starts under his belt. Honestly, I've been impressed with Joe's style of play. They kind of went away with the direct runs with Joe Milton, the call, clearly have a quarterback rushes. They've kind of gone away from that. I kind of like that style and what they did against Minnesota. A lot of direct runs, a lot of Cam Newton-like plays where he gets the snap, tries to make a read, and finds a hole. They kind of got away from that with Michigan State and Indiana. So hopefully Michigan and Josh Gaddis comes out with that style of play. But again, it's going to be all up to the offensive line, like you were saying, Dre. And if they don't give him enough time, then it's going to be a long day for Michigan and Joe Milton.
Yeah, we want to see the running game get going. That's the one thing that I'm going to be looking for is can they establish that running game early? Because what we've seen with Michigan a lot is the first half is kind of slow, and then they pick it up in the second half. You cannot do that tonight against Wisconsin, especially when you don't know what to really expect from Wisconsin. Their first game against Illinois, they had a great game. So got to go out there, got to score points on the first drive.
Well, we talk about Michigan entering this game 1-2, not what anyone expected, especially not a loss to Michigan State. But this is an odd college football season, and Penn State, if we talk about storylines here on a Saturday night, Penn State lost again today in a game where they way outgained their opponent yet again, and yet they lost. And now they're 0-4 for the first time after losing today to Nebraska. First time since, I believe, 2000.
I mean, just look at the entire landscape of the Big Ten, especially the Big Ten East. When you look at, Penn State, 0-4. Michigan State, everybody kind of expected them to be poor, but not to lose to Rutgers and maybe not be 1-3. Michigan, 1-2, playing a top 10 team, easily could go to 1-3. And then Rutgers maybe making a little bit of noise. The whole Big Ten East is just different this year. The only common factor that remained the same is Ohio State at the top, still undefeated. But it's been a lot of shakeup so far early in the Big Ten year.
Well, Indiana now 4-0.
And absolutely.
And they will be playing Ohio State next week. That could be for the Big Ten East title right there.
Who would have thought that would be the game to watch in the Big Ten East? Indiana and Ohio State?
2020 for you.
Yeah, 20, exactly. That's a good point of me.
Wisconsin breaks the huddle first. Michigan is still huddling up. Now they'll come out, and we'll have to see what Michigan's offensive line is going to look like. It appears that they're going to have Carson Barnhart lining up at left tackle. Then Phil Yonga, followed by Vistardis. They kick Stuber out to right tackle, and Zach Zinter fills in at right guard, just like last week. Milton's out there. I believe that's Charbonnet to his right from our vantage point. A couple wide receivers, and they've got a pair of tight ends on the formation. Actually, looks like 6 offensive linemen, 1 tight end. Milton takes the snap. He's going to roll out to his right, looking for some receivers. Now he's going to throw across his body and across the formation, and it looks like it's intercepted. Deflected off a body, and it looks like Wisconsin takes it away, trying to see that number.
Just really, really nice coverage by Wisconsin. Milton had nowhere to go. The secondary, even the edge linebackers were great coverage for Wisconsin. Milton had to force a throw and gets tipped and falls right into Wisconsin.
That sure looks like it just went right off the hands of Eubanks and into Scott Nelson. Didn't look like a bad pass from Milton, but just goes right off
Yep.
the mitts and into Scott Nelson, the safety's hands.
Yeah, if Eubanks makes that catch is made in contention. That's a tough play. Tough play for Milton to throw, tough play for Eubanks to catch, but again, that's the great coverage by Wisconsin and a huge shift in momentum here still early in the first quarter.
Milton's third interception of the season. Not really on him, though. Wisconsin will now take the ball over. Mertz lines up under center, second Badger offensive possession. He takes the snap and drops back, ready to throw. Got plenty of time, going to air it out deep, looking for a receiver. It goes way over his head. A little bit of contact down there, but it'll fall harmlessly incomplete. Intended for Danny Davis.
Yeah, not surprised to see Wisconsin's offense go up in the air and test those corners right away on that turnover.
Yeah, nice little move there by Danny Davis. He had that sort of that double move sideways view that a lot of teams really like to run. They start with a shallow post and they go and turn that into a flag. If Graham Mertz makes a correct throw, that's an easy touchdown for Davis. Davis had green burnt, and Graham just missed a throw.
So now Mertz will line up in the shotgun, 2nd and 10 from the Michigan 33. Wisconsin with great field position after the interception. Another player comes across the formation. It's going to be an end around going back the other way on the reverse. Wisconsin's got some room at the 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Going for the end zone, and it'll be knocked out of bounds at the 2 or the 3 yard line on that reverse. Shamir Dyke running it, and he'll pushed out of bounds at the 3.
You know, that's the one thing that's so hard for a team that has a clear hole in their defensive lineup. When you're so focused on not making mistakes in the deep passing game, you tend to lose focus in other certain things. Right there, the defensive end simply does not keep contained on that reverse, and it turns into a huge play for Wisconsin. So when you're so focused on that one set of the defense, you tend to make mistakes other places.
Credit Graham Mertz on that play with a block on Taylor Upshaw to seal the edge on the reverse. Now Wisconsin's got 1st and goal from the 3. Mertz under center, jumbo formation, going to give it off to the fullback, and nothing going right there. Not even sure he got a yard. Maybe they'll give him the 2, but not much happening there.
Yeah, nowhere to go on that play, right into the Wisconsin back wall. Nowhere to go.
Jess Spate gets credit for the stop.
Michigan's defense is getting tested early right away. I mean, we're just 6 minutes into the game, and this is Wisconsin's second possession already. They're in the red zone, 2 yards away from the touchdown.
2nd and goal from the 2 yard line. They gave him a generous yard there. Now Mertz comes out, I formation yet again, and now they shift right back into that same look with 2 fullbacks and a running back. Now they'll give it off to Nakia Watson. He goes towards the goal line. Is he in? He is! Touchdown, Wisconsin, just off the left side of the formation. And it'll be 6-0 Badgers pending the PAT.
Yep, like we said earlier in that first drive for Wisconsin, the line of scrimmage just seemed like the offensive side of the ball for Wisconsin's offensive line had the advantage against Michigan's defensive line. And in that touchdown on the 2 yard line, it's always critical. The line of scrimmage is the most important factor of any play inside the 5 yard line, really almost any play ever on the field. And Wisconsin absolutely dominated that play and, gets 6 points because of it.
Now out for the extra point is Colin Larsh. 9:28 to go in the first. Snap out, hold is good. The kick is right through, so 7-0 Wisconsin. 5:32 into the contest. Total yards 56 Badgers, 0 for Michigan. Wolverines have had 1 offensive play. It was an interception, and Wisconsin took little time capitalizing there. 4 plays, 33 yards in just over 90 seconds to convert on the touchdown.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, Andy, the offensive line is going to be crucial in this game. It's who wins the battle in between the trenches. So now with Michigan down 7-0 early in the first quarter, we got to see how this offense responds. Do they have that sense of urgency to go out there, respond, and really keep this game close before it gets out of hand? I mean, I know we're early into the game, but you cannot have turnovers.
Well, and of course, last week the turnovers weren't as big of a problem as it was penalties, but in this game, turnovers strike again, and Eubanks there with a pass that goes off his hands. Michigan struggled with Eric All and drops, just trying to find a tight end who can catch the football right now for the Wolverines, but this will be a big offensive possession to try and bounce back.
And everybody talks about how strong Joe Milton's arm strength is. It's like, how can you not, like if you're Nick Eubanks, how do you let that just bounce off your hands?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, we'll see what Josh Gaddis does. Does he go back into the air, or does he try to get some run game going?
You have to think you want to establish the ground game in this contest. I mean, they tried to get Milton to ease in with a little rollout pass, had a man open, hit him in the hands, and then it leads to an interception. But Wisconsin's got a tough defense.
Yeah, tough defense, great offensive line. With Graham Mertz, it looks he settled in. That second drive, he really settled in, and he won't get credit for this as much as he should. But that block that led to them getting into the red zone was huge for them.
Yeah, it's not a defensive end. I can't remember who exactly it was, but that's always I always like seeing that as a quarterback.
Yeah.
I watched a video of Jimmy Garoppolo laying a block on a similar play on reverse, and George Kittle goes up on the sideline like, "Dude, you really just landed a block there." And it says a lot when you can rally around a quarterback because they're making blocks like that. That's a huge thing.
You're in a lot of respect with your team if you are the starting quarterback, the star of this team, and you go out there and you just put a block that leads to a 30-yard gain to put you in the red zone. It's huge. It's huge. Your teammates will feed off of it, and we got to see something like that for Michigan.
And now Michigan will come out to receive the kickoff following the Badger score. This game, of course, the Saturday night football game on ABC on television, so expect long commercial breaks like the one we just had in between possessions.
Yeah, it's going to be a big key drive here for Joe Milton. How does he respond to that early interception? One offensive play, one interception. See how we can bounce back on this drive.
Cardboard cutouts dot the end zones here in this game, and the event staff put down tarps for the first few rows that have different phrases. Hashtag Go Blue in the end zones, and then Victor's Valiant by the midfield section, and then block M's.
I thought I would never say this, but the layout of the stadium actually looks kind of nice when there's no fans there. I mean, I've never saw how it actually lays out and looks from the press box, no fans. I mean, it's a big house. It's one of the best stadiums in the country for a reason.
So now the kickoff is away. Back deep are Ronnie Bell and Giles Jackson. Catching it just inside the 10 is Jackson. He goes around one tackler, now gets a bit of space. He's at the 30, 35, 40, turns the corner, cuts it back at the 45, and then gets ragged down almost at midfield, about the 47-yard line, but that's a big return there for Giles Jackson. It's why they put him back deep, and now it gives Michigan good field position on their second offensive possession.
You got to love watching Giles Jackson play. Like there's just so much energy with him, and like Wisconsin the rest of the game, they're not going to kick it to him. They're not going to let him.
Why would you? He's burnt teams ever since he's gotten that role as a kick returner. It doesn't matter what game it is. You can consistently see him pass the ball on the 25-yard, get to the 30, get to the 35, get to the 40. He is one of the best kick returners in the country.
Milton comes out in the shotgun, running back to his left, motions him right, as well as some receivers. Looks like Eubanks comes across the formation. Milton takes the snap. That's a false start.
Yep. And guy on the right side of the line of scrimmage, looks like number 86 for the Wolverines, definitely had a quick jump.
Two offensive possessions. First one turnover, second one flag. Not a good start for the Wolverines.
So it'll back them up to first and 15. That looks like tight end, I think Eric All.
Eric All, I believe.
Or, with 86? Trying to see exactly what the number. Oh, it was Luke Schoonmaker. Third string tight end, number 86, jumps there. First and 15. Back them up to the 42. They need the Badger 43. Milton takes the snap, will give it off, trying to test the edge. Blake Corum running outside, and he'll lose 3 yards. Badgers quick off the edge there. A couple men in white knock him down for a loss of 3, and now it's second and 18 all the way back to the 39.
Yeah, I was curious to see how the middle of this Wisconsin defense would look. I mean, without Zach Bond was one of the best defensive players in the country last year. Ended up being a second-round pick in the NFL draft. I was curious to see how this middle of the Wisconsin defense looks, and so far they have looked very, very fast.
Under 9 minutes remaining in the first quarter, and now Michigan is way behind the sticks after that great kick return. Milton claps his hands twice, takes the snap, and he's going to try and run it himself, but no room there. He gains a yard and then runs into a bunch of bodies. Now it'll be third and 17 from the 40-yard line.
You know, I was asking for those designed runs at the beginning of the game, But I wasn't really asking for it on 2nd and 18. Not exactly the best time for that design run. That's more of a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 2nd and 4 type of play.
I think
Not on
Gaddis
2nd and 18.
I think Gaddis was trying to catch him with the formation opened up and just get some chunk yards back, but Wisconsin has not been fooled on either of these first 2 plays of this drive, and now Michigan 3rd and 16 has to find something down the field. Milton takes the snap, 4-man rush for the Badgers. Twist comes, he's got some okay time, and he throws it right into the hands of a Wisconsin player. 35-30, 25-20, returning the other way, bouncing off tacklers, down to the 10, and he'll be tackled right about there. That throw directly into the belly of a linebacker who Milton just apparently did not see.
It looked like Milton was looking 12 yards down the field. That looked like he was going for Nick Eubanks, but just did not see the linebacker sitting right there in the flat.
Yeah, the linebacker did not move at all.
Yeah, it looked like it was Ronnie Bell going for a flag, or going for the flag route. Excuse me, not a flag, the flag route, and Milton just missed him. That's 2 bad turnovers, 2 really, really bad turnovers in the Michigan side of the field. When you do that, you just don't. You can't expect to come out here and dominate or come here and compete against a top 10 team.
That was Leo Chenal with the return. They're going to mark him down at the 14, but now Wisconsin's second possession that starts in Michigan territory. This is in the red zone. Mertz under center, I formation. Tight end comes across, and a play action. Mertz is going to roll out to his right, going to see what's available for him. Now runs up to the line of scrimmage, throws to the end zone. Dangerous pass, well covered there, and it's incomplete.
Yep, great coverage by Vincent Gray on that entire route. Play action, runs a 15-yard out right at the pylon, and Vincent Gray was on his back hip the entire time. You cannot ask more out of your corner, who's been kind of struggling so far this year.
And if you're Michigan in this really struggling defense coming off a tough week against Indiana, this is be a huge opportunity to slam the door and force a field goal after you were put behind the 8 ball. Mertz under center, and this pre-snap motion continues for Wisconsin. This time they brought 2 across the formation. Now they bring 1 back across the other way, and he'll just hand it right off to a running back who runs straight into some bodies. Really nice firm tackling. Looked like Cam McGrone in on that one. And Daxton Hill also gets credit. They'll pick up about 2 or 3. They'll mark him down just outside the 10-yard line, and now it'll be 3rd and long for the Badgers.
Yeah, huge play right here for the Wolverines. They need a defensive stop. You cannot go down 14-0.
Yeah, a lot of trickery so far, pre-snap-wise for Wisconsin. They came out and trips a couple times, motioned to like a double pro set with a fullback and 2 tight ends, and they go back out to trips a couple times. It's been really interesting, and Michigan's done a good job so far adjusting.
Under 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. 3rd and 7. Mertz takes the snap and drops back. Well protected, going to fire, got a man on a crossing route. That'll be a first down towards the goal line and stop just a little bit short.
Again, this is the problem that we continuously talk about for the Wolverines. Right there, Michigan was in zone coverage. A cover 2 with a wide open middle of the field. When you are typically a man-to-man coverage football team and you try to work into zone coverage and you simply don't practice it that much, there is going to be flaws. I mean, you don't teach a dog who's been walking his entire life to all of a sudden start climbing a tree, right? You can't tell a defense who typically runs zone coverage to adjust mid-game to a zone. They run zone right there, and Wisconsin gets a beautiful 13-yard play.
And it'll be 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. This is where Wisconsin will bring the beef out and try and punch it in. Mertz under center. And he'll do a play-action man wide open, and he just flips it to him. Touchdown, Badgers. And with 6:08 to go in the first quarter, it's 13-0 Wisconsin. 2 Michigan turnovers and 2 quick strikes from the road team in white. And they'll go up a full 2 touchdowns if Colin Larsch can put through this extra point.
Yeah, Wisconsin on the road. You come to the big house to be up. About to be up 14-0. You can't ask for a better start. On the Michigan side, 2 turnovers, really slow start. You know, the first interception, it happens. It bounces off your hands. The second one, it was into the Wisconsin hands players.
And the extra point is good. 14-0 Wisconsin. Mason Stockey gets credit for the touchdown. Just a pretty simple spree, the fullback free in the flat. And Graham Mertz making it easy right there to pick up a touchdown pass. And you look at the stat sheet right now, 70 yards for Wisconsin. They've had 3 real possessions. Michigan -1 total yards. They have run just 4 plays and turned it over on 2 of those 4.
Yeah, 2 things real quick. First thing, beautiful play design by Wisconsin on that 1st and goal in the 1. Everybody and their mom is expecting you to run up the middle. You have a fullback dive, play action fullback dive, and just release a tight end on the flat. That's going to be wide open against a team like Michigan, who is dying to stop the run. Great play design. Second, I want to talk about the play design that Michigan had on 2nd and 18. When you put yourself in the situation to be 2nd and 18, you know what that happens. Sometimes the play goes bad. You try a jet sweep. They lose 8 yards. That happens, right? So 2nd and 18, you got to cut that. You got to cut that yards to gain in half. You got to get to at least 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, and make it manageable to make the defense somewhat believe maybe you could run the ball. When it's 3rd and 16, everybody knows that Joe Milton is going to have to throw the ball. So what does Wisconsin do? They drop 8 guys back in coverage and is daring for Joe Milton to make a mistake. Daring Joe Milton to throw a ball into tight coverage, and he made a bad throw. Wisconsin got the interception, and that was due set up to that really, really bad play call on 2nd and 18. You cannot put that situation in your first-year quarterback who is 4 games deep. You just cannot make those mistakes. That is a bad play call. That's another example of the Michigan coaching staff just not executing their game plan the way that they should.
Greatly said, Andy.
Well, you know.
You know, we did not expect to be down 14-0, or Michigan did not expect to be down 14-0 this early.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a defeating start.
It is defeating, as you said. Like if Wisconsin comes out here and they just are playing a great game and they're just hitting on all cylinders, great. The better team's doing good to start. But when it's self-inflicted wounds, those ones hurt the most.
Exactly.
Those ones hurt the most. Not only does that deflate your offense, but your defenses, they just came out and they're ready. They're catching their breath, relaxing, go over things, going over plays, and another turnover, and you got to head back out there, and your defense is tired.
Yeah, I mean, again, like deflating start, your first-year quarterback has, on his first 2 possessions, thrown 2 interceptions. Hard for a quarterback to come back from like that. Good quarterbacks do. Good quarterbacks do come back for that. But first-year quarterback is always tough. And like you said about the defense, they come out first possession, make a stop. They force Wisconsin to punt. The next 2 defensive possessions, Wisconsin starting on your own 30-yard line. You can't put your defense in that situation. Not an ideal start for the Wolverines. Fortunately, there's still 3.5 quarters. They can turn this around, but you don't want to start off the second half of the first quarter down 14 points.
Yeah, the Michigan now this is a really, really important drive for the Wolverines to try and claw their way back into this game. And again, it's just a question of these slow starts after last week against Indiana, coming out staggering. And this is a team with a lot of questions, had another week to try and reset the narrative and struggling to do so right now. And Wisconsin had a couple weeks off with illness outbreaks on the team, and they are definitely the team that came ready to play here in this one.
And with them being out, they're in quarantine for 2 weeks. That means they're not practicing. They're not in the weight room. The only thing you can do is in your dorm, push-ups, pull-ups, I don't know, turn some P90X on or
maybe have
something.
some like Zoom game plan meetings. Yeah.
So to see this, like Wisconsin's coaching staff could not ask for a better start.
Yeah.
Because now they have more options.
Yep.
And the Badgers will boot this one away, and it will not give Giles Jackson a chance the second time. So Wisconsin plants it in the back of the end zone. Michigan will take it at the 25-yard line. Joe Milton now 0 for 2, and both of those incompletions were interceptions. So you got to wonder if they're just going to try and find him a nice, easy completion here to begin this drive.
My one question for Michigan is who's their number 1 running back right now?
We don't know yet. They've been splitting that time up between 4 different running backs. Like I said earlier, I think Hassan Haskins is the guy. Zach Charbonnet, people can argue that too, but you don't know because you've filtered between 4 different running backs.
Milton takes the snap, hands it off, running to the left side. Maybe a yard or 2 for Blake Corum, but no real hole there, and looks like Benton on the tackle.
And you got to ask yourself, Andy, when you look at the running back room right there, Charbonnet checks into the game right now, is like, who is our number 1 running back? Against Minnesota, it looked like Charbonnet, but who knows?
Now Milton will look over to the sideline. Michigan, of course, always going tempo now since Josh Gaddis was installed, and 15 seconds now on the play clock. Milton retreats to his position, and now he'll take that snap, give it to a man running around the outside of the formation, bouncing off tacklers, now cutting back the other way, and a lot of running for getting back to the line of scrimmage for A.J. Henning, weaving between bodies.
Yeah, you're not seeing a lot of traditional play calls so far for the Wolverines. And, obviously we've been asking for this crazy speed and space offense. It's good. But when you do it too much, you set those plays up by having those successful traditional plays. You set up the jet sweep or the reverse or the QB design run by having traditional plays. You haven't set that up yet.
Now 3rd and long. Again, Michigan behind the sticks. This is where they were at last drive in 3rd and long when Milton threw the interception to the linebacker, Chenal. See what they dial up here. Big issue is Michigan can't get any push on the ground right now. Running game 4 attempts for 1 total yard. Now Milton takes the snap. Wisconsin's going to bring some pressure. Now he fires it down the field in the area of a receiver. No flags come in. That was really tight coverage down the sideline. Attended for Eric All.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact on that play right there, but it looks like the referees are going to let him play, and if that's the case, it's got to be for both sides.
Yeah, and to be honest, most of the contact came from Eric All. It looked like Eric All kind of even pushed off at the end there. That's one of those plays where if they're both making contact, if they both are initiating in that contact, it's got to be a no call. You got to let the game play, and the referees did a very good job there.
Dante Burton in coverage. He'll get credit for the pass breakup. Now Michigan will get ready to punt this one away on a 3-and-out. Offense sputtering, and Michigan trails 14-0, 4:42 to go. And running up, and indeed booting that one away is Will Hart, and he'll be caught at the 31. And attempting to return it, cutting back, and then being tackled is Jack Dunn.
So before that punt, did you guys think at all Michigan could fake it?
No, never in that situation where you have 8 yards to gain and you're in extreme Michigan territory. Never. Let's be honest, man. When you look at Michigan history, they're not usually the team that likes the fake punts, fake kicks. I mean, off the top of my mind, I don't know if when's the last fake punt that Michigan has tried to execute in the last couple of years.
Didn't they do one last year against Notre Dame?
I can't exactly recall right now, but in those situations where you're 4th and 8, 4th and 9, and you're at the 20-yard line, that's not even in the playbook.
Now Wisconsin's next possession begins with a jet sweep to the left side, and they'll get a lot of yardage into Michigan territory. A pickup of maybe 18 yards. Carlo Kemp brings him down.
Yeah, the difference right now between Michigan's offense and Wisconsin's offense is Wisconsin's offense, as soon as they touch the ball, they're getting yards. Yeah. That first, second down, they get yards. So that way they make the 3rd down manageable if they get a 3rd down play.
And the reason they're getting so much success, there's a lot of space for their skill position players to run. Running backs are finding holes. Running backs are jet sweep wide receivers off the edge. They're having clear lanes. No contain for Michigan and no defensive line push.
Mertens takes the snap, play action. He's going to try and fire it down the field. Tight coverage down the sideline, and again, no flags coming down. Running step for step there was Vincent Gray.
So Michigan's corners have been tested twice now.
And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Michigan State showed everybody in the country that Michigan has a clear weakness in deep down the field coverage at their cornerback position. So if I'm any team playing against Michigan, I'm looking to take those chances as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I think Christie's doing a good job so far at that.
Yeah, you got to go after their weakest link, and Michigan State exposed that. They made Lombardi look like an All-American.
Yeah, and he has not looked like a starting quarterback in every other game he's played, not Michigan.
And now Wisconsin takes the snap, and just another flip out into the flat. That's a fullback running down the sideline, Stocky, and he'll pick up enough for a 1st down.
A clear mistake there for Michigan. Again, they go into cover 2, a zone coverage. In cover 2, the quarterbacks always cover the flat. Always cover the flat. You see Wisconsin, tight end, run a flag, a 15-yard almost out and up route, where Vincent Gray is following that guy. He's not supposed to follow that guy. He's supposed to be in the flat coverage. There, Wisconsin throws it in the flat and gets a key and easy 15-yard gain. Bad coverage and bad mistake there by the Michigan secondary.
1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. Mertz under center, Fullback goes out to the side. Jumbo formation. Takes the snap and hands it off to a running back. No real room there. Gain of about 2. Michigan's done a good job to plug the interior. It's about the only thing they've done well defensively so far.
And it makes you think, if we weren't in a pandemic right now and there was a sold-out big house, how much would this defense feed off of the crowd noise from the big house?
I mean, Michigan has had success against Wisconsin at home. In the last couple of years, Michigan has, the last time Michigan played Wisconsin at home, they dominated the game. And before that, Jordan Lewis, a big interception game, 2 wins.
And Mertz takes the snap. He's going to flip it out into the flats. Got a receiver running free right at the sticks. They'll be pushed out hard there by Jamon Green, but it will pick up the first down. Gets the 7 yards they needed out of bounds at the 18.
Yeah, not only is Wisconsin testing the corners down the field, they're testing their responsibilities in the zone coverage in the flat. That's 2 plays in a row where Wisconsin has beat Michigan in the flat due to bad responsibilities and Michigan not being in charge or doing their responsibilities correctly in the zone coverage. Great job by Wisconsin play callers right now, really taking advantage of the weakness of Michigan.
Back in the red zone is Wisconsin. Mertz under center, I formation, play action. He'll get ready to pass. Pressure starts to come up the middle, will roll out to his right and flips it into the flat. Has a man at the 10-yard line, and for a gain of about 7 or so.
Yeah, really fortunate for the Wolverines as that Wisconsin guy was running that flat. John Ross, clearly right in front of the back judge, clearly grabs the Wisconsin wide receiver. The call is not made. You see it right there. He grabs number 3, and still that number 3 makes a catch for Wisconsin, gets upfield for 8 yards. But a big missed call there for the Wolverines, and still, it doesn't matter. Wisconsin gets plus yardage.
Yeah,
Second
so far
down and
we've seen Graham Mertz just settle in, making the easy decisions, not forcing anything.
And we're now in the final minute just about of the first quarter. Mertz takes the snap, hands it off to the running back, and he'll be swallowed up right at the 10-yard line. Maybe give him the 9.5. That'll set up 3rd and short. Taylor Upshaw on the tackle.
Listening to Michigan's press conference earlier this week and just listening to Giles Jackson talk about how in practice they practice well Monday through Wednesday. Thursday they're kind of more laid back, and it resembles into game type atmosphere. It's like how you practice the week leading up into it is how you're going to play. And Michigan so far, they have not stepped up to the task.
3rd and 2.5. Mertz under center, lone setback. Now man comes across the formation. They'll give it to him, running towards the outside at the 5, trying to cut the corner. And it was close, but driven out at about the 1 or the 2-yard line. Danny Davis there, the ball carrier, and that may well be the final play of the first quarter. If it is, it'll be 1st and goal from the 1 when we come back to the second quarter, and that is indeed what's going to happen. Time ticks away, and that'll do it for the first.
Yeah, Amir, you were talking about a weekly practice for the Michigan football team, and really almost every single football team has a similar schedule. You go really hard. So obviously we'll talk about college football purposes here. You have Saturday, maybe you take Sunday off, film session, then you go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's your practice for physical contact. You're running plays. You're running you're trying to figure out all the physical quirks, offensive and defensive line, your positional groups. You're playing physical practices where you go hard and you're going hard contact. On Thursdays and Fridays, those are the practices where you don't usually have that physical contact. It might seem as those sort of lazier days where there's not as much intensity, but where the intensity lacks on the physical side, the intensity has to equally rise on the mental side of that practice. That's where you go through walkthroughs, you figure out your special teams plays, and that's where you start to increment all the game planning systems that you could talk about mentally. So those practices are just as important as the earlier week practices, and you're kind of seeing those mental things that we go through in those Thursdays and Fridays practices. Part of the reason why Michigan is struggling so far this year, we talked about the Indiana game with the offside penalties. That's a mental mistake. We're talking about so far in this game for Wisconsin, them not having their zone responsibilities downhand, leaving a lot of plays open in the flat. Those are things you go over and walk through. You talk about your responsibilities in zone coverage and walk through. You talk about your responsibilities as an offensive lineman through walkthrough. So if you're not being intense physically, you have to be equally as intense mentally. And clearly, they're not doing that because you're continuously, week after week, in the last 3 games, making those mental mistakes.
Yeah, and you can say what you want to say about the coaching staff, that they're struggling this year, that they're slacking, but I still put more emphasis on the players in the locker room. Like,
Sure.
you can only put so much blame on the coaches. Like, there's got to be veteran leadership that's going to hold those underclassmen accountable. Like, you just they gotta bring the energy, they gotta bring the momentum. And when you look at the first quarter stats, Wisconsin was 3 for 4 on third downs. So
Yeah.
129 yards compared to Michigan's one yard the whole first quarter. So
It's a clear. I mean, it's part of the 14-0 story so far for Michigan in this Wisconsin game.
yeah, time of possession, Wisconsin 11 and a half minutes compared to Michigan's about 3.5 minutes.
Michigan outgained 129-1 in that first quarter, and if you extrapolated that across the entire game, Wisconsin would outgain Michigan 514-4 across 4 quarters.
This might just be me, but that's not good. That's not good for the Wolverines.
Michigan, I mean, everything's going wrong right now. They got to flip the switch, somehow dig deep.
Andy, we might need to grab the shoulder pads and run down there for him.
Hey, man, I think I still got a couple hits left in me. I don't think that's true, actually. I think I take one hit, I'd probably just lay on the ground and be done.
But we also got to give credit where credit's due. Is Wisconsin? They had a great game plan coming into this game, and when your opponent is going to give you 2 turnovers in the first quarter, you're not going to complain.
That's the thing, Amir. Like it's hard to see a game plan that either team is trying to execute when Michigan has given them the ball twice in Michigan's own territory. It's hard. I mean, I would like to say Wisconsin's playing super well. They're forcing Michigan to make mistakes. But so far, the difference in the game is Michigan making those really, really bad mistakes. And to be fair, this is a really nice job for Wisconsin, by the way. They started on the 40-yard line, and they got down to the Michigan 1 in what seemed like a heartbeat. But so far, the first 2 touchdowns that Wisconsin has scored, Michigan pretty much handed them the ball.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to start in plus territory.
Yeah.
It'll be 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Wisconsin can jam this right in and go up 3 touchdowns. They lead 14-0. First play of the second quarter coming up momentarily once the referee gives him the signal. He does. He vacates the center area. Mertz goes under center. More pre-snap motion. Now it becomes an I formation with the tight end moving across. Mertz takes it off, gives it to the fullback, and he powers into the end zone. Wisconsin touchdown. 6 seconds elapsed there on the first play of the second quarter, and Wisconsin catapults ahead 20-0 with the extra point upcoming.
Yep, that is a Wisconsin football touchdown right there. Give it to the fullback on 1st and goal. Score a touchdown. That's what Wisconsin has been doing as their bread and butter for what seems like my entire life. Last time Wisconsin had the ball 1st and goal in the 1, they did a really, really nice play action to that fullback. The tight end went out to the flat. This time, they give it to their fullback. It gets an easy touchdown.
And now Colin Larsh will come back out and attempt another extra point. And he threads this one through. 21-0 Wisconsin, 15 minutes and 6 seconds into this game. Badgers 130 yards, Michigan 1. The Wolverines in total have run just 7 plays. They've turned it over twice, committed a false start as well. Really the only highlight for Michigan in this game would be that first defensive drive where they got off the field, and then the Giles Jackson kick return. That's about it so far. Otherwise, a very, very dispiriting performance so far by a team that, was in a competitive game with Michigan State a few weeks ago, a less competitive but still decently interesting at some points game with Indiana. Each week has gotten successively worse, and now you're on the verge of getting blown out before halftime here in this one.
Yeah, that's what's happened when the past couple of years Michigan and Wisconsin play. It's usually a blowout. They're not that close to games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not look very promising for Michigan right now, but we still are early in this game. There's still about 3 full quarters left to play. They can still turn it around, but looking at the benches, there is no urgency right now.
The kickoff will come, and we'll see if they give Jackson another chance. They will. He'll catch it at the 5-yard line. Gets a running start. He's at the 20. Tries to navigate his way, and he'll get past the 25, tackled from behind down to about the 27 or 28-yard line. That's where Michigan will start, and we'll see what the offense can do.
Yeah, a lot of space on that kickoff for Giles Jackson. I think if he cuts to the inside, cuts back towards the middle of the field, maybe he generates 5 or 6 more yards. But again, that's another kick return when Michigan gets past the 25-yard line. What else can you ask for out of Giles Jackson?
Nothing.
Joe Milton comes out in the shotgun. He's got a running back. That looks like Charbonnet to his right. Tight ends all and Eubanks on the formation. Wisconsin brings a bit of pressure. He fires it out into the flat, and it's a little too far for the outstretched, diving Cornelius Johnson.
If you go into Joe Milton's head right now, I just think what's running through his brain right now.
Yeah.
Like, you got 2 turnovers, you got 1 yard the whole first quarter, and like you just knowing Joe, like he's gonna put more pressure on himself and he's gonna make the riskier passes.
0 for 4 so far is Milton. Now he'll run this one up the middle for about 2 yards on a design quarterback keeper. And now again, just like that, you're into 3rd and long. Third straight possession for Michigan where they got into 3rd and long before gaining a first down.
You know, Wisconsin's doing a really nice job of their gap responsibilities on the defensive line and their linebackers. That front 7, if they have control of their gap, they are keeping that gap. That's why their running game has been so bad for Michigan so far, to where Joe Milton had a cutback there. The guy who had that previous gap filled that gap right away and did a really, really nice job of stopping Joe Milton.
Now Milton with Charbonnet now to his left. 4 wide receivers, 5 men at the line. We'll see if Wisconsin brings pressure. And he's going to give it off to Charbonnet on 3rd and 8. And he'll pick up a few, but not close to what they needed. Maybe a 3-yard pickup, and it'll be 4th down and 5. A very puzzling decision there on 3rd and long. And now Brad Robbins will go back out to punt, and Michigan's offense continues to sputter.
You know, I'm never going to accuse a coaching staff of, quitting early in the second quarter, but that's a type of play call where it just looks like you're not trying to do anything. You're accepting the fact that you're not going to get a first down. You're not trying to roll Joe Milton out of the pocket. You're not trying to put 4 wide receivers deep. You're not running reverse. You're not running an interesting zone call. Just a boring run that gets stopped.
And Robbins with a flat line drive punt that takes a couple friendly bounces and will die right around the 25-yard line. And again, you talk about time of possession. Michigan in an 8-minute deficit in time of possession, and right there they use up, barely 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes on that possession, and now Wisconsin will get it right back.
Yeah, this is a type of drive for Wisconsin where you could the coffin is already shut. You score a touchdown here, the coffin might be nailed shut. If obviously you never give up. 28-0, 35-0, it doesn't matter. You can come back and win. It's football, but it's really hard for a team like Michigan who loves to get their flow on offense through the running game. Their best part of their game typically is the running attack. When you're down 21-0 or 28-0, when the best part of your offense is an offense that takes a lot of time, it's hard for that team to come back. So say Michigan is down 28-0 after this possession. If Wisconsin do, in fact, go down and score a touchdown, it's going to be really, really hard for Michigan as a running team to come back and try to win this game.
Yeah, and for Wisconsin right now, the only thing you can see them doing right now is taking time off the clock, just tiring out that defense. Like, the Michigan defense has been out there so much today that, I don't know. We'll see.
And, that 3rd down run, not the only puzzling decision in this game. Michigan also had a QB keeper that went for 1 yard on 2nd and 18 on an earlier possession. Play calling all around offensively has been a bit puzzling, but it doesn't really matter. The fact is that Milton hasn't thrown the most accurate balls. Really, that first interception, probably the most accurate pass he's thrown, and you're not getting any push at the line of scrimmage. So it's not like they have the magical play calls, in the hip pocket, and they're just not using them. Nothing is working right now offensively, and defensively, they had a decent first possession, and then have just been put in such terrible situations these last few possessions. And they got to find something right now.
Yeah, right now you want to see Michigan's defense force a turnover. That's really the only thing you can ask for right now is force a turnover and give it back to your offense.
Again, shift the momentum in this game. Try to do something. A big play down the field. Has Michigan take a shot down the field yet? Nope. Has Michigan had generating any sort of situation where Wisconsin could potentially make a mistake, either a bad pass or a sack or a contested catch or something. No, nothing. None of that has happened. There's been no potential momentum shifts plays in this game yet. And again, it's going to be hard to generate one right now. It just seems like this game is just played between a college football team and a JV football high school team.
You mentioned in the pregame show with no fans, it looked like a high school game out there with all the fans.
It's kind of actually somebody said that, and I believe it was Joe Flacco said that it almost brings them back to that like high school feeling where you're just excited to play for the people that like are close to you and that love you, your family, your friends. It sort of adds a different dynamic that's interesting for these football players on the field. So it's cool. It kind of gets that old feel back.
Well, Wisconsin will come out to begin this possession at their own 26-yard line. It'll be first down and 10. Mertz will go under center. 5 at the line plus a couple tight ends. Wide receiver comes across the formation, and he will do play action, rolling out to his right and fires across the field, a little high and behind his intended receiver. Bounces off the mitts and incomplete.
Yeah, tough throw there for Graham Mertz. Rolling out to his right, he's got a guy running a flat about 8 yards deep. Typically, as a right-handed quarterback, when you're rolling out to the right, it's an easier throw than when you're throwing out to the left. When you're rolling out to the left, you got to switch your hips, you got to flick them, and then throw the shoulder to come through towards the ball. Right there, usually it's the easier throw rolling out to a right for a right-handed quarterback. And that was just a bad toss there by Graham.
Well, Mertz now in second in 10. He's 6 for 12 in this game. Passing game hasn't been as fluid for Wisconsin so far. Running game has been hit or miss, but they've gotten enough big plays and short fields to begin their possessions. Now this is a handoff, and there's a lot of room there. 35-40, burrowing forward to the 44 or 45-yard line. A really nice run there.
Just.
Daxton Hill with the tackle.
Credit to the Wisconsin offensive line right there.
Just a hole that a semi-truck could drive right on through. Wide open hole with no pressure at all from the left side of the defensive line for the Michigan Wolverines, and that was just a hole that was just destined to be a big game for Wisconsin.
Jalen Berger there picks up the 18 yards. Berger now 3 carries for 24. First and 10, Wisconsin at the 44-yard line. They need to get to the Michigan 46. Mertz, I formation under center, and he's content to hand it off again. This run forward for about 6 or 7 yards.
It's really hard in a game like this where there's been a lot of turnovers. We don't really know yet if Wisconsin's playing super well, if Michigan's playing Michigan obviously is playing super bad, but we can't see any glaring positives for Wisconsin. Right now, the one glaring positive I see is the offensive line generating really good holes for the running backs. Again, on the left side of the offensive line, just a huge hole for Wisconsin, and they're just executing those holes very well, and that leaves for really, really good opportunities for Wisconsin running backs.
And Mertz under center, second down and 3, 11:40 to go here in the second quarter. Takes the snap, play action, and he'll be ready to throw. He'll fire over the middle, got it complete at the 30-yard line. The receiver spun down right there in the Michigan corner who brought him down, appears to be injured. Now slow to get to his feet. That looks like Jamon Green shaken up. Nice accurate throw to Shamir Dike for 19.
There was a lot of confusion on the Michigan defense right there. There was 3 players that ran into each other in the middle of the field, which allowed the Wisconsin player to get open.
Yep, that's a simple play action double post. You have your one wide receiver on the right side of the field and your tight end on the left side of the field. Both run post. They both run 10 yards, and they both run diagonal routes where they cross each other. And when they have a good executed route like that, sometimes they do run into each other. The defensive players run into each other, and that's what happened there for Michigan. But when you set up the run like they've done so far this drive, you have an 8-yard rush, and you come back and get a 15-yard rush, and come back with another 8-yard rush, that sets up the play action. The defensive team is so focused on stopping the run that you forget you got to cover the pass. And right there, Wisconsin gets a big chunk play because of the running game setting of the passing game and the play action.
Now, Wisconsin first down. They'll give a short handoff now, wiggling his way. There's a running back there to pick up 5 yards. Nakia Watson on the carry. McGrone and Ross on the tackle. Be second and 5. Wisconsin just picking up yards in chunks right now, doing whatever they want.
Yeah, 7.9 yards per carry so far for the Wisconsin Badgers. They are simply doing whatever they want.
Yeah, that summarizes really is Wisconsin's doing whatever they want, and they're getting yards. Whatever they call, they're getting yards. They're moving the ball forward. They're not moving back.
Now 2nd down and 5. Another man coming across the formation. Mertz will drop back to pass. Going to fire deep, looking for a receiver. Going to the end zone, draws contact, and that'll be a flag coming in. That'll be pass interference. Looks for Danny Davis in the end zone. I think that's Vincent Gray or no, DJ Turner, number 5, the one who's going to
redshirt freshman there for the Wolverines. 3-star recruit last year. Yeah, just a really uninspiring effort here for the Wolverines so far. They're just getting beat in every single asset of the game, and I don't know where you go from here. It's 21-0. Again, we're talking like the game is already over. The game is never over. The game is never over in the game of football. But so far, you have to bounce back, and they're just not even seem like they're trying to get any momentum in this football game.
Makes you think which team was off for the last 2 weeks.
That's a fair point, Amir.
Ball placed down at the 10, 1st and goal for the Badgers. Mertz gives it off to a running back right up the middle, and he's in for the touchdown. Barely touched, and Wisconsin will take a 27-0 lead. 10:07 remaining here in the 2nd quarter.
Again, a really beautiful design by Wisconsin. They faked the jet sweep, the guy coming in motion. They faked the guy coming in motion, and they gave it straight to the halfback. A wide open hole again, up the middle for a 15-yard touchdown. When you fake that jet sweep, you make the linebackers believe they're following. So when they follow that jet sweep, they go naturally towards the outside. And what does that do? That leaves the inside of the field wide open. They fake that jet sweep, give it to the halfback. Halfback runs up for a touchdown. Beautiful play design. Again, really, really good execution so far here for Wisconsin.
Yeah, beautiful play design. You'd love to see Wisconsin players making the blocks, making it easy for the running back. Everything's clicking for Wisconsin.
Yep.
Everything is clicking for Wisconsin. Like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, it makes you wonder which team was off for the last 2 weeks. Because Wisconsin
sure doesn't look like
Wisconsin does not look like they had any problems. Does not look like they were off for the last 2 weeks. They're just trucking away. They're a freight train right now. They're doing whatever they want to do.
Extra point is through, and it's now 28-0 Badgers.
You know, listening to Michigan all week this week, they were asked multiple times, is this a must-win game? And most of them said, yeah, this is a must-win game.
And before you continue to go, Amir, in college football, they're all must-win games. They're all must-win games. But this definition of must-win is different. Correct? I mean, you continue to go on what you're saying.
No, every game is a must-win, and right now, I mean, there is a speculation about this coaching staff. Can they do it? And right now, down 28-0, the best thing you can do right now is don't even look at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it. You're not down 4 touchdowns. There's a little bit over 10 minutes left in the 2nd quarter. There's plenty of football left to be played. Don't look at the scoreboard. Don't just the first quarter and the first 5 minutes of the 2nd quarter don't exist.
Yeah,
if you're Michigan. They
ball
don't
game.
exist. Go out there, go back to your game plan, and execute. We really want to see them to execute. But during that drive right there, is it normal to see the backup quarterback warming up that much, throwing on the sideline? Because Cade was out there. He was warming up, it looked like.
Yeah, I don't know. Quarterbacks tend to do that all the time. Like, what else is the backup quarterback going to do? Obviously, he's working on some execution things they talked about in game film, or in the film room, excuse me. But it gets to the question, like, if this turns into a 35-42-0 game, why not give him some experience? That's a top 15 team. Why not? I don't think Joe Milton's job is in question.
No,
but
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I just looking at the sideline, I was like, he's staying warm. He's doing a lot. Like, I don't think Joe Milton has done, other than turnovers, anything to get benched right now.
It is a very long trek upwards now for Michigan to try and claw back into this game, down 4 touchdowns. They will be getting the football back, but they have 6 6 yards on 10 plays for an average of 0.6 yards per play. Wisconsin, 189 yards on 29 plays for an average of 6.5 yards per play. Michigan has been totally outmatched, and I came from a hockey game earlier this afternoon that Michigan won 8-1. This is kind of the reverse of that. Just total dominance in the other direction right now. Michigan helpless on offense and struggling mightily on defense.
If you look at no other stats, I think this one will explain the game to you. First downs, Wisconsin has gotten 10 of them. Michigan's gotten 0. I think that's all you need to know how the game's gone so far.
You know what's the one stat that you really need to know? It's 28-0 Wisconsin. Wisconsin's winning this football game 28-0. It's again, we talked about it earlier, Amir and Drayden. You start this game over. You find things that you can take into next week. You know, Bo Schembechler said it best. In a win, you build the team down, try to find things that you can fix. In a loss, you try to build the team back up after you find things that can be successful and you continue to grow from that. That's what Michigan needs to do the rest of this game.
Well said, but I think they're still in it. Call me crazy, but they're still in it.
Oh, like I said, disclaimer, they're always still in it.
It's only a very, very, very steep hill to climb.
So Joe Milton will come out in the shotgun with the running back to his left. That looks like Hassan Haskins. And he'll flip it out into the flat. Henning with the catch, but he'll lose about a yard. 3 Badgers in the area to only 1 blocker and 1 man with the ball. He's brought down for a small loss. And the offense right now just kind of looks like an ATV stuck in some mud. The tires are spinning and the mud's flying out, but it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's a great analogy right there. That basically sums it up.
Yep, just a very fast, swarming defense for Wisconsin, not letting Michigan get any space at all.
Milton takes the snap. He's going to roll out to his right. Runner comes, and he's going to get hit, flicks the ball in the air, and it drops incomplete. But a free rusher came down and really leveled Milton, trying to see who that was who got a piece. I think it was Noah Burks from the linebacker level. Might have been Leo Chenal. Regardless, now 3rd and 11. And again, here we go. Possession after possession after possession. Michigan is in 3rd and long without gaining a first down. They still do not have a first down in this game. 10-0, the first downs in favor of the Badgers. And Michigan is trying to get something going. 4 receivers. Milton claps his hands to take the snap. 3-man rush. He's going to fire it deep. Got a guy with a step, and he hits him down the sideline. Complete at the 45. Now dodging a couple men is Giles Jackson, and that is the big play Michigan needed. A really nice throw from Joe Milton to an open man, and Michigan gets their first down.
I mean, fellas, that was a good play.
Yeah.
Wolverines driving the ball downfield. Really, really nice pass from Joe Milton to Giles Jackson there. Again, Matt Jackson makes a couple of nice moves like he usually does. But that's a positive note for the Wolverines. Really nice fade, about 25 yards down the field to the right side of the field. Nice pass by Joe Milton.
We'll see if Michigan can capitalize on that. Ronnie Bell runs in an orbit formation, and instead they'll give it off, and burrowing forward for about 5 or 6 yards is Hassan Haskins. Michigan finally picks up a chunk on first down.
Maybe that play right there gives us a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, you would hope so.
And you want to see Joe Milton air it out. Really, we talk about his arm strength and how good of a quarterback he was this summer and won the QB1 position. Yeah. You want to see him. You want to see him throw it in the air. You can't get the run game going right now. Open it up, throw it in the air.
2nd down and 4. Milton takes the snap, and he'll do a design quarterback run, and that one goes nowhere. No push from the offensive line, and a couple linebackers looped around behind and tracked him down from the backside. Be 3rd and 5 from the 35-yard line of the Badgers.
Yeah, barring score, it doesn't matter what the score is. You get in a situation like this, you're at the 35-yard line, it's 3rd and 5, you're probably in 4-down territory, but given the score is 28-0, this is definitely 4-down territory.
Oh, yeah.
So given that 3rd and 5, you can have any play in the playbook available. You can run the ball, pass the ball, you can do whatever to make this a shorter 4th-down play.
Giles Jackson comes across. Milton in the shotgun. He'll take the snap. He's well protected, going to fire. Got a man open, and he completes it. Nick Eubanks just past the 25-yard line. That's a nice, solid chunk pickup down to the 22.
Yeah, really, really good protection there for the Michigan offensive line. Joe Milton had 3 or 4 seconds to sit in that pocket, and Nick Eubanks runs a really, really nice curl right up the middle. Milton really almost hits his back judge here. The back judge portion, or the part of the referee crew.
Yeah,
really nice pass from Milton there.
Yeah, you love to see him go through his progressions.
Milton takes the snap. He'll drop back again. Still got some time. Throws, got a man wide open, and he just missed him. Put it a tiny bit over the head of the rather short receiver, Blake Corum.
Yeah,
but Milton did have pressure coming.
Had a couple really nice options open there for Milton. He had Blake Corum running on that wheel route and had a wide open Roman Wilson on the post who could have gone either way. He went with Corum. Didn't seem like it was a terrible throw, just barely over Corum's head.
Joe Milton takes the snap, and he'll give it off to Corum, who spins off a tackler and darts outside, and he'll pick up a really nice chunk of about 5 or 6. It'll set up third and medium.
Yeah, you want to make it third and manageable. I mean, going back to that previous play, Blake Corum was wide open. Joe just threw it over his head a little bit. But otherwise, he's in the end zone.
6:44 to go, and this is the issue for Michigan, is they're going to have to play with a bit more pace offensively when you're down 4 touchdowns. Obviously, you want to get one score on the board right here. Michigan will get the ball to begin the second half. Milton takes the snap, and it looks like a miscommunication. Now he keeps it himself, and he'll run forward for the first down just inside the 10-yard line.
Again, one of those design runs that I was asking for earlier in the game, and that is a type of play that Cam Newton has absolutely perfected, both at Auburn and for the Carolina Panthers, where you make that read, you let the holes form, and once you find that open hole, you dash right through. And that's exactly what Joe Milton did. Up the middle at first and broke to the right side.
Milton shotgun, gives it off to Blake Corum, finds a little hole to the outside, and then gets brought down by a pair of Badgers who viciously throw him down after a gain of 2.
So it seems like Blake Corum is running back 1 tonight.
Perhaps. He now has 4 carries. Milton with 4, 1 for Haskins, 1 for Charbonnet, and 1 for Henning. None for Chris Evans. Personnel changes. Clock ticks down under 5:30 to go. Milton in the pistol formation. 2 tight ends at the line and 2 wide receivers. 1 wide receiver comes across. Milton play action's going to find, hits his man in the flat. That'll gain a few yards, and Eric All will be spun out at the 6 after a gain of 2. Now 3rd and goal.
Tough read there for Joe Milton. He had a lot of pressure coming from the unblocked defensive end, but he had Nick Eubanks wide open in the end zone. I mean, wide open for a touchdown.
Yeah, we got to remind ourselves that this is Joe Milton's.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's a play that's really tough because you have a lot of pressure coming from the unblocked defensive end. But if the play gets a couple more seconds to develop, Michigan probably gets 7 points from Nick Eubanks right there.
Now Zach Charbonnet is trying to come out onto the field. Is he going to be in the 12th man or the 11th man? Regardless, Harbaugh's got to take a timeout. Charbonnet there, looked like Josh Gaddis was trying to stop him from running onto the field. Trying to see how many they had. I think they had 11 on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Again, one of those situations that just cannot happen. Those are, like we were
Self-inflicted
talking
wounds.
about Amir earlier, those are the things you go through on Thursday and Friday in practice where you can't make those mistakes. Those are walk-through mental errors that you are committing that forces you to call a timeout. Now in the situation where, let's say Michigan goes down, because Wisconsin, remember, started the ball off. Got the ball first, Michigan gets the ball following half. Say Michigan scores a touchdown here, gets a stop, calls 3 timeouts, and Michigan has, maybe a minute to go down and score. Now they just gave up a timeout there that you usually could have used at the end of the second half. Again, a mistake you cannot commit. Michigan does there, forces to take a timeout, and now it's a harder situation to get the ball back and score 14 points instead of just 7.
Now we have some video on the scoreboard. This is a replay of the famous comeback against Wisconsin in the 2008 season. The lone bright spot of Rich Rodriguez's first year at Michigan, the comeback upset of the Badgers. And
the 3-9 season, correct?
yes.
They lost to Toledo.
Yep. Michigan would love to channel that comeback here in this game. We do have one comment in the live chat. Person says, I knew it would be bad, but damn, this is just ... You can fill in the blanks there.
That is a very, very astute comment. That is a very fair thing to say. I think that fine individual is correct. This is bad.
Well, Michigan will come out of the timeout with 3rd and goal from the 6, and this is a big play. I mean, at any time you're down in a game like this and you need touchdowns to get back in it, it's 4-down territory for sure, but just the confidence it could bring to the offense.
Like I said, the situation is present. There could be a situation where you score a touchdown here, you get a stop. Fortunately, Michigan, or unfortunately, Michigan would have liked to have 3 timeouts. Say you score a touchdown here, get a stop, get a touchdown before the half. It's now a 14, 28-point game, and you get the ball coming out to the second half. Makes it a much more manageable situation for Michigan to come back, but
you want to chip away at this lead. That's the only thing you can do right now. Yep. You want to chip away at this lead. You don't want to go into halftime down 28-0. Chip away at the lead, and you'll be fine.
Yep. And you know how you do that? Don't make mistakes. Don't turn the ball over, and start to control the line of scrimmage.
It's a nice
Get
laundry
chunk
list.
plays. I mean, again, it's really not that simple. Or it's really not that hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Again, don't turn the ball over. Control the line of scrimmage. Those are 2 factors. You control the line of scrimmage. You stop letting Wisconsin get 4 or 5-yard rushes every single play. You start to generate 3 and outs, get the ball back, and try to score.
3rd and 6. Milton's going to try and throw into the flats. Got it complete. Stutter step and touchdown. A.J. Henning. A really nice pitch and catch there in the flat. And Henning's agility does it himself. Or was it Chris Evans? It was. Good check there. That's his first name call of the day.
Again, that's the type of role that Chris Evans is really, really good in. That's the thing about this backfield. Even though there's 4 guys continuing, they all kind of serve different purposes. And that's what Chris Evans is really, really good at. He's almost kind of like that James White-style scat back that is a really, really good pass catcher out of the backfield. Gets a catch in the flat there, makes a beautiful cutback, and finds his way to the end zone.
That play is going to be under further review. They're showing it on ESPN to our side. That looks very, very close. He might be inches short.
Yeah. The good thing for Michigan, though, is, this is a better angle right here. He's going to be short.
Yep, looks like he's going to be short by about
half a football, maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very close. But because that was 3rd down, means it's going to be 4th and goal where everything's on the line in the next play.
Going back to that play, the only thing I didn't like was Joe Milton was set like, this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to throw it to Chris Evans. And if Chris Evans doesn't make that stutter step, the quick stop right there, he's well short. He's stopped early. So
to be fair, though, that is a first read on a play like that. You're 3rd and goal. You typically try to find that flat that has a lot of space so you can get to that pylon. And Chris Evans was fairly open.
Yeah.
And Milton found him.
Well, 4:37 to go. What are you dialing up in this situation, assuming it is 4th and goal from inside the 1?
You have 2 people who serve this type of play perfectly. You have one of the best fullbacks in the country, and Ben Mason. You line him up at fullback, and then you put your powerhouse running back, Zach Charbonnet, in the backfield, and just play old school 3 yards and cloud of dust type of football. We have Ben Mason following through a hole, and Charbonnet finding that hole and scoring a touchdown.
The referee confirms what we saw on the TV. It will be 4th down and inches from inside the 1. Big play right here.
This would be really deflating if Michigan cannot get it in.
Might as well say the game is on the line here if there is any game left to be on the line when you're down 28-0.
Interesting. Ben Mason is in the game, but is serving as the only running back for Michigan. Expect a Joe Milton keeper right here. Ben Mason leading through a hole and Milton following him. Timeout.
Wisconsin's going to call a timeout after they got to see what Michigan sent on out there.
But I don't like that situation. Take one of the wide receivers out, and you can keep Ben Mason. You can have the same play call, but have a 2 running back system where you have Ben Mason on the right, and say you put, say put Blake Corum on the left. You at least have to respect the fact that the running back might get the ball. I don't think Michigan's handing the ball off to Ben Mason in that situation. When you know it's Ben Mason as the only running back and Joe Milton as quarterback, I can conclude that Ben Mason is the lead blocker, and Joe Milton's going to follow him. Less dynamic aspect of that offense.
What I would like to see is what I saw in Maction on Wednesday. So is where the quarterback is gonna be a quarterback sneak, but where Ben Mason is on the outside but comes in and then pushes Joe into the end zone.
Oh yeah, yep. Happens a lot. Actually, happened in the NFL last week. Was it Christian McCaffrey? I believe it was Christian McCaffrey. Teddy Bridgewater had a sneak, and he was stuffed. And then McCaffrey came behind him and kind of pushed him in. There's one person on the Michigan offense that's going to have that best push. It's probably Ben Mason.
Well, Michigan's been able to claw back in the yardage column. They are now up to 80 total yards after hovering around 0 for well into the second quarter. This drive's finally gotten something going for them. Wisconsin, though, trying to slam the door. 4th and goal from inside the 1-yard line. Once these huddles break, we've had a long stoppage since the last play where Chris Evans was tackled inside the 1. First a review that led to a timeout, and then standard timeout called by the Badgers.
Mm-hmm. Again, I do like a Joe Milton keep here. If they decide to go that route, that's totally fine. Again, that's a Cam Newton-like play where you find that hole. But
being that close.
If you only have Ben Mason, like I said earlier, you only have Ben Mason in the backfield, your offense is significantly less dynamic because I don't think they're handing the ball to Ben Mason.
No.
You have Blake Corum back there or Charbonnet or any other running back of the 4. There's a threat at least that you may hand it off to that running back. You can have the same exact play design, just instead of having a wide receiver out there, you take the wide receiver out and bring in a running back.
Stepping away from the game though for a second it's just crazy to see an empty big house right now.
Yeah.
And football being played.
Again, it reminds me, like we were talking about earlier, it reminds me of a high school football game.
Primetime game on ESPN.
On ESPN in the third biggest stadium in the world, the biggest stadium in the United States. Yeah.
It's just so surreal and see the cutout boards of the student section.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the student section?
I believe it was $35 for a student or someone to pay out for a cutout. Pay for a cutout. I was tempted to do it.
Yeah, why not?
Throw my grandpa in there.
Do you think
like that? That'd have been cool.
Do you think you would have got to keep it? Like if you buy it,
I believe
they'll
so.
send it to you?
I would assume so. Again, same situation. 2 running backs split out. Ben Mason as the only running back in the backfield, split up to the right of Joe Milton. Again, I expected Joe Milton keeper, where Ben Mason is leading through a hole and Milton to follow.
Well, the referee will give the signal. And here we go. 4th down and goal. 4:37 to go in the second quarter. 28-0. Wisconsin. Milton takes the snap. He's going to try to scramble into the end zone. We'll see. It's going to be close. They knocked him short. The referees are doing the stop the clock signal. They have not signaled touchdown, and it does appear that he will be just a tiny bit short. Wisconsin will take over on downs.
Yep, and he is clearly short. And what did I say, gentlemen? When you have that formation, everybody and their mom knows that Joe Milton is running the ball and Ben Mason's leading through that hole and Milton is following. When you put a running back in, you at least are alluding to the fact that the running back could get the ball. You're adding an extra dynamic to that play. You can run the same exact play. You just don't have the running back. You were the same exact play. You just have a running back in there to add that extra dynamic. The defense might believe that you're giving the ball to the running back.
Are you saying you don't agree with Josh Gaddis' call?
In that situation, no.
Mertz will quarterback sneak it to begin Wisconsin's possession. He gets a lot of push out towards the 5-yard line. That'll give them some breathing room in the shadow of their own goal line. Now under 4.5 to go. And if you're Wisconsin, you'd love to get another drive here, get some points before halftime, and go up 30-plus into the break.
And again, I don't disagree with the play call itself. I'm okay with Joe Milton following Ben Mason through a hole. Like I said, I like that play call. I just disagree with the formation.
No, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. I'm just joking about the coaching and all the hot seat getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But right now, you have Wisconsin pinned back deep. This has got to be 3 and out.
2nd down and 7. Wisconsin content to let the clock run. They give it off to a running back who surges forward close to the first down. He'll be about a yard short, but it'll be 3rd and 1. And when you're dictating the line of scrimmage like Wisconsin is, you got to think they're just going to keep it on the ground like that.
Yeah, and Wisconsin right now really doesn't care where the ball is. They're moving it forward. They're not going back.
3rd down and 1. You can imagine if Wisconsin gets the first down, then they'll open it up a little bit. Clock ticks down close to 3 minutes. They do have 2 timeouts. They're about to cross the 200-yard mark for this first half, and that's the thing about Wisconsin. They haven't had to go a lot of yards. They've had good field position. This drive is a change of that, starting on their own 1. 3rd down and 1. Give it off to the running back, and he'll pick up the first down. It's like Jalen Berger goes forward.
Like clockwork. 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards. Again, you get 4 yards to carry. 4 times 3 is 12, and you only need 10 yards to get a first down. You continue to pound 4 yards a pop, you're going to continue to move the chains and chew up clock. And honestly, that's probably what Wisconsin's going to do the rest of this game.
And now first down and 10 from the 14-yard line. Clock ticks down to 2:30. Mertz under center. Wisconsin may just run this clock out. We'll see what they do. Now play action. Mertz rolls out to his right. He's got a receiver across the field, and he got it complete at the 30 and will be driven out of bounds at around the 34-yard line. Kendrick Pryor there hauls it in.
With those plays calls right now, Wisconsin's not looking to run out the clock. They're looking to get more points going
but
into
again,
halftime.
That presents a situation where Wisconsin's getting large chunks on the ground that leaves the play action possibility wide open. You set up the pass, you set up the play action by pounding the rock, and they've been pounding the rock this drive. The play action opened up, and they get a large 20-yard chunk. That's just great play calling. That's knowing the situation of the game, knowing what Michigan is trying to focus on, and kind of flipping the script.
Now already down to 10 on the play clock. Wisconsin's going to have to move a little bit faster as there's now under 2 minutes remaining in the first half. They give this off to a running back who burrows his way forward for about 4 or 5 yards. We'll see if they move with tempo now. That gets them to the 38. Josh Ross on the tackle.
I'm surprised to see Wisconsin not going harder for a touchdown here.
Well, now they're getting up a little bit quicker. Now 30 on the play clock, and they're up to the line. We'll see how much time they can save here. Now 1:20 in the game clock, 20 on the play clock. So they got that one off in 20 seconds. Mertz throws, got it complete to Danny Davis, but I believe he loses the football. Michigan may have recovered that. Let's take a look. I think they did get on it. Yep, Michigan has the ball, but the question here, of course, is going to be whether that was a completed pass before the ball came free. But with 1:08 to go, Michigan will take over.
It looked like a completed pass. He made, just watching it live time, it looks like he made a football move.
Again, it's a big question. 2 feet, and does he make a football move?
Let's see. It's complete there. Oh.
To me, that looks like an incomplete pass.
Yeah, I think that's an incomplete pass.
We got to see whether the ball is bobbling or not.
That's close.
That's very, very, very close.
The good thing is that they called it for a fumble and Michigan on the field. So
and that's a critical thing.
No signal for review yet. The referees are standing.
They got to review this one. I mean, even if you think Michigan still has the ball, you got to review it.
They're going to review it. This is so much time. They're definitely going to review it.
I'm surprised Christie has not thrown the flag yet.
Now here it is.
Yep.
And it's going to be, I think that'll be a booth review.
Looking at the review, he gets the slant route. He looks like he has possession. Doesn't necessarily look like he takes a couple steps. But it's also one of those things. It's not an exact defined definition. So he may have the ball in possession for a certain amount of time, or it looks like he's got the ball for about a split second, and then it comes out. But I don't think he makes 2 steps and doesn't make a football move. To me, that's an incomplete pass. But it's very, very close. And like you said, Amir, the call on the field was a catch and a fumble. And if there's no indisputable evidence, you stick with the call on the field.
The more and more I watch, I feel like they're going to overturn it.
Catch. Takes a step. Takes another. But when
you got to ask, does he have full control of the ball? And he doesn't.
I don't think he does. And that's what I was going to say, Amir. You said that perfectly. When he's taking that second step, that's when the ball starts to bobble out a little bit. That's when he loses that possession where it turns into an incomplete type of pass.
Yeah, as soon as he was hit, he was already losing possession of the ball. His hand was being dragged down. He was already losing possession before he took that second step.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely will be an interesting decision. If Wisconsin gets the football back, they will still have a chance to try and drive into scoring position.
And, I mean, Cade McNarma is warming up, and Joe Milton is sitting over there on the bench, but I don't think that means Cade is going to be the starting quarterback.
I would not expect
that's
to
just
see
him out there getting warm.
It is a cold night out there.
It is a cold night, lady. I mean, it went from 70 degrees on Sunday to 25. Or what was today? It was 22, and I woke up at 7 a.m. I'm like, that makes sense. I'm back in Michigan.
Yeah, good thing they're playing this game today.
It is an incomplete pass. We got that one right. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Badgers.
WCBN 1-0.
1-0, baby.
On the
1-0.
challenges tonight.
1-0. ESPN would have said. Never mind.
Let's tune in to see what Kurt Hershey was talking about.
They put 5 seconds back on the clock. It'll be 1:13.
Again, incomplete pass. Time stops. Again, you still have 1:13 seconds with 2 timeouts. If Wisconsin does not get a first down, that's when the clock rolls in college football. Obviously, we all know if you get a first down, clock stops until the chains are set. If you don't get a first down, inbounds, call timeout. This is plenty of time for Wisconsin to go down and at least kick a field goal, if not score a touchdown.
It'll be 3rd and 5 from the 39-yard line. In the shotgun is Mertz. They can get this first down and keep the clock rolling and drive into field goal range. Michigan trying to get a big stop. Mertz takes the snap, and he'll just give it to a running back. Michigan reads it all the way. They bring him down for a loss. Good defensive stop there. Jalen Berger brought down in the backfield, and now Jim Harbaugh calls timeout. Michigan will get a chance to do a 2-minute drill, but after watching Michigan try and do that against MSU, they're going to have to show something new here.
Yeah. Again, I understand the play call from Wisconsin's perspective. If you're not trying to go down and score, at least run the ball, keep the ball on the ground, get that clock rolling, force Michigan to take a timeout. Now with a minute left, they only have 1 timeout instead of 2. I'm surprised they didn't go for a first down to try to get get another point on the scoreboard. But again, if they're not going to go for it, keep the ball on the ground, force Michigan call timeouts. Yep. That's what Wisconsin did.
That's what I expected them to do anyways, was to keep the ball on the ground. But it did seem like they might throw it in the air because they've been successful on the ground and in the air.
Yeah.
So they got whatever they want to choose.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that passing success has been based off the fact that they're running the football so efficiently. And when you're taking away the fact that Wisconsin is only going to pass, they're a less efficient passing football team.
Could we see a fake right here?
Not up 28-0.
And the punt is away. A high arcing kick is going to force a fair catch to be made at the 17-yard line.
Man, you love fake punts, Amir. That's the second reference we've seen to a fake punt so far this game. We're not even at halftime. 2 more to go. We're on pace for 4, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. See if Amir's going to talk about fake punts again.
Michigan's going to get one. I'm telling you. They're going to call a fake punt.
So
before 2025.
Michigan will send the offense back out there. Joe Milton, 5 for 11, 55 yards, 2 interceptions, but he did drive the team down to the goal line on that last possession, even if they were stopped on 4th and inches. 80 total yards of offense for the Wolverines. Almost all came on that preceding possession. Milton takes the snap. Pressure comes, and he dumps it off into the flat. Got a man, and it'll be a quick chunk pickup of about 10 yards. Chris Evans for the first down. That'll move him up to the 28.
Keithing gets out of bounds, too, so the clock does stop. I really like Chris Evans in that role. He is a very, very good pass catcher out of the backfield.
And now Michigan can run up to the line with no threat of the clock running and take a more methodical pace, but they are going to have to throw out tempo at some point in this drive if they want to get in to scoring position. Pressure comes off the edge again. Milton bugs out of the pocket, rolls out to his right. He's got some receivers down the field. We'll see if he pulls the trigger, and he does not. He is wrapped up inbounds for a loss of about 5 yards. Michigan's got 2 timeouts. They're not calling any right now. Clock ticks under 40 seconds. It'll be 2nd and 14, but by the time they run up and hike this ball, a lot of their potential time is going to run off the clock. Now under 30 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Now the referee puts the ball down, 25 seconds. Milton claps, takes the snap. 4-man rush. Well protected again, but he doesn't throw it. Now he's going to try and scramble himself. Picks up about the yards he lost on that sack. He'll be brought down. 10
half.
seconds remaining,
Go
and
to
that
half.
will probably do it for the first half. 5 seconds remaining. There will not be another play, and we will go to halftime. The score 28, Wisconsin 0 for Michigan.
Yeah, real quick before we break down the half, that sack there by Joe, when Joe Milton got sacked, that cannot happen in a 2-minute situation. You cannot take a sack when you're rolling out of the pocket. You're on the side. He's not even a yard away from the sideline. Throw the ball away. You take a sack, you take an 8-yard loss, and you kill, like in that play, it killed 20, 25 seconds. Throw the ball away, take an incompletion, reset the play, and you save 25 seconds. Him taking a sack there eliminated any single chance that Michigan to complete that 2-minute drill. Just a really bad, first year starting mistake there for Joe Milton, and it cost him.
Well, it now, as it go to halftime, it'll be a 20-minute halftime session, but Michigan is going to have to change something if they are to just find anything to cling to in the second half of this game that you can build on moving forward.
I mean, again, we talked about seeing what you can take in next week as a win. Can you start rolling that running game? Can you build more Joe Milton confidence? Can he come out in the second half, start being efficient with the passing game, stop making bad decisions, not turning the ball over, not taking bad sacks? At this point, it's 28-0. You get the ball at halftime. You can come back and win. But most importantly, if you can't do that, you got to start building confidence. Start running the ball efficiently. Start making short throws for Joe. Let him get some confidence and see if there's anything you can take in next week.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is going to be a learning game for Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wisconsin is obviously in the driver's seat right now, so being up 28-0, having 227 yards compared to Michigan's 94, 4 for 6 on third downs. Wisconsin, they have not missed a step since that first game against Illinois. They have, you wouldn't even tell that they were out for 2 weeks, where they weren't able to practice, weren't able to hit the weight room. They are just clicking tonight. And Michigan, 2 costly turnovers in the first quarter, really set the stage for this game, and Wisconsin hasn't looked back. During the press conference, I really want to hear what Harbaugh and this coaching staff is telling this team in the locker room, because what can you really tell them? They're down 28-0. It's really self-inflicted wounds.
You tell them one thing, Amir. 28 points. Keep playing. Game's not over. This game, because Michigan gets the ball at half, still can come back and win. You got to continue to rally your troops coming in the second half.
And for that to happen, you got to see big plays. You cannot see these 1-2 yards gains. Like, they got to be 5+. If we're going to run it on the ground, or if they're going to throw it in the air, they got to be deep shots. And we have not seen a lot of that play call tonight.
Yeah.
And you got to give credit to Wisconsin's defense. They are pressuring Joe Milton a lot. He is not having as much time as he'd like in the pocket, and he's being flushed out, and his options aren't there. So it'll be interesting to see what Michigan does to start off in the second half. They get the kickoff, I believe, to start out. So that's 1+ to start the second half. So we'll see.
Well, that does it for the first half, and we will be back for the second half in about 15 minutes. Welcome back to the second half of action between Michigan and Wisconsin here on WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan football. I'm Alex Drain, joined now by Andy Laidlaw and Amir Bektis for this second half. Wisconsin leads 28-0 here at halftime, and obviously Wisconsin came in as the favored team despite a couple weeks off, but this is quite something. The ABC broadcast says that this is the largest halftime deficit for a Michigan team ever at Michigan Stadium, dating back to at least 1972. So that's where things are at halftime.
I think I'm going to blame the ABC broadcast because I saw Chris Fowler and Kurt Herbstreit just tweeting about how every game they've been to this year has been a blowout. They can't call a good competitive game, and the way this one's going, it looks like they're going to continue that streak for 2020. But we mentioned it multiple times in the during our halftime is what does Michigan need to do? What they need to do is don't look at the scoreboard. Mm-hmm. Fresh game, fresh half. Just go out there. Go back to our original game plan because the first quarter really set the presence for the game. 2 turnovers, a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and Wisconsin capitalized.
Yeah, this is the type of game where, yes, it's 28-0. It's a large deficit, but you still can come back. You have a quarterback who's got a really, really strong arm, who can push the ball down the field. And I hope that was the message coming out of halftime for the Michigan Wolverines, that we still can come back and win this game. This is a game where we cannot give up. Anything happens in football. If Wisconsin can score 28 points, if they can make a difference 28-0, then Michigan could do the same thing. They can come back and make this a 28-28 game, take it in overtime, or if not, take the lead. You have to be thinking optimistic if you're in Michigan. You can't give up. You cannot fold this game to Wisconsin, because what kind of message does that show to recruits? What kind of message does that show to the players on your team right now? If you are willing to give up on your team, then the future of the program, future of the coaching staff does not look bright.
I think the coaching staff this half this will have a big part in whether they return next year. Say what you want to say, but if they can put some fight into this game, it will help them. But the seat definitely got a lot hotter the first half.
Not even looking forward to next year. We got to look at the outlook at the rest of the season. This half might set up how the Michigan momentum carries on for the rest of the season.
Well, Wisconsin will do the kickoff. Michigan, at least, will get to start with the football and an opportunity to make things right.
Yep, back for the Wolverines, you have Giles Jackson and Blake Corum, 2 of the fastest players in the Big Ten. I do love Blake Corum back there, but, you have Giles Jackson. How can you go without him?
And the kickoff will go through the end zone. Michigan will send the offense out there. Really just one drive for Michigan has been good, and everything else has really struggled. We'll see if they can recapture the momentum of the one drive where they got down to the goal line but were stuffed on 4th and goal.
Michigan needs a good, solid drive.
Yep.
That would really help them go a long way. They need a good, solid drive. Grind away, chip away at this lead.
Build some momentum,
yep. And stuff could switch your way because Graham is a freshman quarterback. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the experience. This is only his second game.
Milton takes the snap, will fire it out, and has it complete. That'll be a pickup of bouncing off tacklers is Ronnie Bell, and he'll get all the way past the 45 out to maybe the 46.
Yeah, very nice presence there from Joe Milton. The corner came off the blitz, slot corner came off the blitz, and Joe knew right away that he had to get rid of the ball quick, and he finds Ronnie Bell on that quick out, and Ronnie Bell makes a great play, which he is very good at. Yards after the catch is Ronnie Bell's thing. Breaks a tackle and gets a nice little 15-yard gain there.
Milton checks the sideline. Takes the snap. Well protected at first, and he's able to get another accurate pass away. He finds Ronnie Bell, who will be flung out of bounds after another first down into Badger territory. That'll be a first down at about the 43-yard line.
I don't know what Harbaugh told him, but
it's working so far.
Right now, knock on wood, that he told him something good.
Yeah.
To keep it going.
Yep, nice little 15-yard out there. One of the hardest plays for a quarterback one of the hardest throws for a quarterback to make. That 15-yard out is a very, very difficult throw, and Milton executed it flawlessly.
Milton takes a snap, hands it off, and running back goes up the middle. Now bouncing off tacklers again. A good push now to the 30. The pile keeps moving forward to the 28. A really long run there from Zach Charbonnet.
Again, doesn't that 4th and goal play just make this game feel so much different? If Michigan converts that play and it's 7-28 right now and this drive happens, it feels like a manageable game.
It would definitely still be an uphill battle, but
they score on this possession. It's still manageable.
Of course.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to cut the lead in half instead of, well, we don't know what's going to happen yet.
Milton takes the snap. Plenty of time to throw. Is going to fire down the seam, looking for a receiver in the end zone. Wanted contact, but no flag coming, and it's incomplete.
Jim Harbaugh is really upset about that no call right there. There was a lot of contact in the end zone, but the way the referees have been calling this game, they were not going to call that.
I'm kind of with him, though. It looked like Caesar Williams had his right hand kind of leverage him up to a bigger position where Cornelius Johnson could not get his arms up. Oh, yeah. I think I would have threw the flag on there, but like you said, Amir, and it's a good point, they haven't called those all game. You can't call them now.
The 2nd and 10 from the 28. Milton takes the snap. Waits now, is going to throw, looking for a receiver, and just off the hands, outstretched, diving Eric All.
Yeah, really nice passer, flag route, Eric All. It just seemed like he stopped. He seemed like he wanted to launch out for the ball instead of catching the ball and run, or catching the ball while running. Close play, probably could have been caught. Nice pass then again there from Joe Milton.
Milton will check the sideline. 2 minutes gone in the 3rd quarter, as it's now 3rd and long. 3rd and 10 from the 28.
Man, look at the speed on the left side trips here. You got Sanders Still, Jackson, and Ronnie Bell. All of those guys can fly.
Which way is the ball going?
Milton takes the snap. Badgers bring a blitz. He's got time. Throws down the sideline, looking for the end zone. And incomplete. Looked like the cornerback pressed him off the field more or less. And the ball sailed out the back of the end zone. It'll bring up 4th down, and it looks like Michigan will be attempting a field goal, perhaps a very long field goal.
Yeah, about a 45-yarder?
Yep.
Yeah, and the special teams has been shaky this season, but it looks like it's going to be Quinn Nordine taking this one.
Not a lot of wind. American flag is just kind of laying feebly, slightly blowing, but not much in any real direction. Snap is out, hold is good, the kick is up, and it is good. So Michigan's on the scoreboard, 28-3.
Plenty of distance there from Nordine. That kick probably would have been good from 55. We know he's got a big leg, but his accuracy has been a concern, and that kick, well, seemed flawless to me.
Chip away at the lead, right? 3 points.
Yeah, that's a little too small of a chip, though.
Too small, but chip away.
Yep. Michigan's got to convert on that drive. You get the ball on 30-yard line. Well, they got the ball on the 28-yard line. You got to try to capitalize in the end zone right there. You're going to need a lot of field goals if you want to come back and win this game. You got to get the ball in the end zone. But again, get some points on the board. Chip away a little bit. You would like to see him get in the end zone, but hey, eventually some points. You saw a couple really nice passes from Joe Milton on that drive, and hopefully Michigan get a stop here and go down and score again.
But we're definitely seeing a little bit more fight from the Wolverines to start the first half, which is what you want to see coming out of halftime. You know, you put points on the board. You didn't come away with a touchdown, but now you put your defense out there, and you're hoping that they can shut down Wisconsin's offense, either 3 and out or force a turnover. And but Wisconsin, they've just been they've gotten everything that they wanted the first half. Mm-hmm. Let's see if that changes the second half for it.
Yeah, Wisconsin's a really hard team to come back from as well, because they're the type of team that is going to chip away 4-yard, 5-yard, 6-yard, 7-yard carries. And when you're continuously moving the chains through the ground, through the running game, you just continue to chew clock. And when you chew clock, you give the offense less chances to score. And that happens. That's what Wisconsin's really good at, chewing clock and moving the chains through the ground. And I fully expect Wisconsin to try to take advantage of that right here with about 12 minutes left in the second quarter.
You know how I said fake punts? Can we see an onside kick?
Hey, why not?
I mean,
The only strike against that is that Wisconsin has done very well with the short fields in this game. But you do need something to happen. You get a field goal, but you're down 25 points.
yeah, when you've not shown much offense in this game, 25 points right now kind of feels like 40 points.
Four-score deficit at the moment for Michigan, and they will be kicking away to Wisconsin, taking just 2 minutes and 8 seconds off the clock for that opening drive.
Again, the key right here on this drive and future drives for Michigan, defensively, can they limit those big chunk running plays from Wisconsin? Can they start to control the line of scrimmage defensively, not getting blown back 1-2 yards, not shifting that line of scrimmage forward? Michigan's defensive line, especially the interior defensive line, needs to be solid and not giving up so many wide open holes.
Michigan will be booting it away. Stephon Bracey will be back deep for the Badgers. Kickoff high and arcing, and it'll be caught in the end zone for a touchback. Badgers will take it from the 25.
Again, one thing we talked about in pregame that we haven't seen much of, and we kind of knew was going to be a problem, was Michigan to be able to get a little bit of pass rush going. No Kwity Paye, no Aiden Hutchinson, and so far Wisconsin has done a really, really good job of controlling those second-string defensive ends so far from Michigan. No pass rush at all, no sacks. It's been another huge, huge impact on this game.
Mertz starts this drive under center. Man comes across the formation, and he'll just give it off to a halfback, Watson. He bounces off tacklers and will pick up about 6 or 7 yards.
Yeah, Carlo Kemp was in the backfield there, has a chance to get a tackle for a loss, and Watson just bounces off of him. Second thing in that play, Daxton Hill. I know you want to make big hits. I know you want to do that, but this is so poor tackling for him. You got to wrap up. You hit him low, wrap him up, drive him to the ground. Daxton Hill goes at him high with one of those arm cross, try to bump him down out of bounds. Stick him. You got to get low, and you got to drive your arms around him, wrap him up, and take him down. Bad technique there for Daxton Hill. Gives Wisconsin 1 or 2 more yards.
Mertz under center, and he hands it off to Watson. That's a really nice tackle by Cam McGrone to stick him.
There you go.
That is tackling.
Cam, listen to you.
That is tackling for him right there.
Cam,
McGrone drives his left shoulder into Watson's chest and takes him down. That's a perfect tackle, perfect play. Way to fill the gap there by Cam McGrone. Absolute picture perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Well, it'll be 3rd down and 4.
Is this the first 3rd down in the first set?
Wisconsin 4 for 6 on 3rd down. Mertz takes the snap. He'll throw for an intended receiver, and he's got it complete just across the first down marker. Looked like a tight end just cutting over the middle there.
Yeah, what I was asking was that the first opportunity for a 3-and-out for Michigan?
Yes. Jake Ferguson on the catch there.
Irregardless, Wisconsin gets the first down. Again, I mean, we've been praising Graham Mertz a lot. Still 9 of 16 today, 90 yards, a touchdown, 124 rating. Just really seems composed in there.
Not being asked to do a ton, but he's doing the minimum. I formation gives it off to a running back who wiggles between tacklers. He's at the 45-50, down to the 45. Nakia Watson rumbles there for a big pickup of about 18 yards running free. First down, Badgers.
Yep, it just seems every single time there's a little crease in the Michigan defense. Watson is finding it.
4 different running backs have carries of at least 18 yards in this game for Wisconsin.
Yeah, they average 6.4 yards per rush, averaging 10 yards per completion.
It's efficiency.
Now Mertz under center yet again. Single set back. Play action. Pressure starts to come. He's going to fire over the middle, though. Got it complete. That's Danny Davis, who is brought down at the 28. Ball came out there at the end. Looked like Michigan stripped it. And
looks like they're going to call catching a fumble, and they do.
Yeah, they do. I think that's going to be Michigan football.
That took a while to from the referees to decide, and that looked more obvious of a fumble.
No.
Well,
That's incomplete pass.
Incomplete pass. Not even close.
That
even
replay
close.
was nowhere close. That's got to be an incomplete pass and a second down.
Yep. This review will take.
They're calling it a fumble on the field, but I mean, that's not. It was tough to see from our vantage point because we were up high and he had his back to us, but on a replay, that's the second time today that one look at the replay is going to be enough to overturn this. Jeez.
Yep, not even close. Not even close. This review should take approximately 15 seconds, but
so WCBN is going to go 2 for
2
2.
for 2, baby. Put it on the books. Again, though, that was another play where the running game just absolutely sets up the play action. When Wisconsin is going to that play action, set design, they're just finding wide open receivers 15 yards on the field every single play. And right there, just another example where Graham Mertz can sit in the pocket after a play action and just deliver a strike. And he does right there. Unfortunately, his wide receiver drops the ball. But, again, Danny Davis got to catch that ball, and it gives another opportunity for Wisconsin to get a 15-yard catch.
Well, the referees are reviewing this one, and we will wait for the official word, but we really expect that this will be coming back. It'll be second down in 10 for the Badgers.
Yeah, this one was a little more clear than the first half one. He did not establish possession at all.
And that was a good pass to an open receiver. That needs to be a catch from Danny Davis.
Absolutely.
2 referees standing there, and he'll take the headset off, and we'll get the official word.
Yeah, Michigan defense has already came out in the field. They know this play is getting reversed.
Yep. Incomplete pass. Second down and 10 at the Michigan 45 upcoming. Wisconsin outgaining Michigan 257 to 141. And they will continue to try and get this drive going. Only 4 minutes and 55 seconds have elapsed here in the third quarter. A lot of action so far without a lot of time going off the clock.
Yeah, and it's been 2 situations where Michigan got the ball in plus territory, got it down to the 28-yard line, and Wisconsin is knocking on the door. They're already in plus territory on the 45-yard line of the Michigan Wolverines, where, again, another situation where they can get points here.
Well, second and 10. Mertz will go under center. Lone set back. Pair of tight ends, reverse positions, Rucci and Ferguson. Now Mertz will do an end around. Wisconsin's got it set up well. They've got some space at the 40 and spinning down to the 39 or the 38 was Kendrick Pryor. Taxton Hill on the tackle.
Beautiful downfield block there by Hayden Rucci. About 6 or 7 yards down the field, and has a very, very nice block that gets just another wide open hole for the Wisconsin runner. That's been the small things that are going on in this game. Wisconsin doing a really nice job blocking down the field, as well as, number 50 Logan Brown for Wisconsin getting a really nice down the field block. Or excuse me, number 60 Logan Bruss.
Wisconsin taking a lot of time. They break the huddle with 9 on the play clock. They got to hurry it up. Now 5, and they're not set yet. The wide receivers are running to their positions. 2 seconds, 1. Mertz will get the snap off, though. Well, they set up a screen, and this pass tipped and incomplete. That was a disaster from the moment they were rushing up to the line of scrimmage. They were trying to run a slip screen, did not get it set up, and the screen pass tipped, and they're lucky it falls incomplete.
There you go. Chip away. Chip away.
Fourth down and 3. Wisconsin will
Cheers.
send out the
This
punter.
would be a 55-yard field goal if Wisconsin wanted to try it.
Yeah, you pin them deep here. You're up 25 points.
Exactly.
And the way the wind's blowing, it wouldn't be in Wisconsin's favor. It stopped now.
Yeah, very light wind.
Vunovic stands at his own 48. Low snap. He'll kick it from the Michigan 47. A looping kick's going to land inside the 10-yard line. Can Wisconsin down it?
Touch it,
Yes, they can at the 1-yard line.
I believe it was first touch at the Michigan 4, though.
Yeah, that's where they're going to mark it at the 4. But regardless, inside the 5, that's exactly what you want for your punter when you're up 25.
It's one of those situations where if you're a Michigan punt returner, you see Wisconsin, they're fighting for the ball right there. Go grab the ball. Go grab the ball. Because if you grab the ball and you muff it and you fumble it, you still get the ball at where Wisconsin first touched it. Michigan could take that ball, run all the way down to the Wisconsin 5-yard line. They could fumble it and Wisconsin would recover it. But you still have the option to take the ball at where Wisconsin first touched it. So if you're a punt returner, you always want to try to go grab, make a play. Or go grab that ball and try to make a play.
Well, both teams will huddle up on their respective sidelines. Michigan will send out the offense for the second offensive possession. They've started to show a bit more life on the last few drives. But, again, you talk about efficiency. Wisconsin is only outgaining Michigan by about 120 yards, yet they're up by 4 scores on the scoreboard. That's because Michigan's had 2 long drives. And they have a total of 3 points under those 2 long drives.
Yeah, and it's those 2 turnovers where Wisconsin got the ball in plus territory. It's been sort of, again, it's always a topic of conversation around football. Who wins the turnover battle? Who wins it? Wisconsin's winning it 2-0 right now, and in both situations, they got the ball in plus territory, and they both converted on 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, probably the 2 most important things that go unnoticed is who wins the turnover battle, but also who wins at the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And both of those right now are going in Wisconsin's favor.
Absolutely.
I mean, their line of scrimmage, their offensive line of scrimmage, like Wisconsin is known for that, though.
Yeah.
Bringing in big linemen.
Yeah, I mean.
And then it takes a lot of pressure off of your quarterback. That's why Graham Mertz has been really successful tonight. Mm-hmm. It allows him to settle in, doesn't have to worry about making those quick passes. Like, it gives him time to progress, to figure out his first option, second option, and, credit to Wisconsin.
Yep. It's always the benefits of having a great offensive line. If there's a one unit on your team that you want to be successful, it's an offensive line, because there's so many things you can do with an offensive line. Why is Zeke Elliott such a great running back in the NFL? Because he's always had the best offensive line. This year and last year, maybe it's been different, but when he was the best running back in the NFL, it's because he had the best offensive line in the NFL. It's also where Dak Prescott began to have a great careers, because he played behind a great offensive line. Gives you the ability to sit in the pocket, make good throws, and also gives the ability for your running back to have wide open holes where you can convert long, efficient plays down the field.
That's exactly where I was going to go to, was mention Dallas. Is why is Dallas so successful? Is their offensive line. Mm-hmm. Because that's where everything starts, is if you have a good, successful offensive line, everything else will take care of it.
Goes flawless.
Why did the Lions struggle so much? Because their offense.
There has to be a line. We're already watching a Michigan game there where Michigan's getting destroyed, and you have to bring up the Lions.
I don't want to talk about the Lions. We might just watch the Masters tomorrow instead.
There we go.
Well, Michigan will break the huddle. 9:04 to go in the third quarter. Joe Milton. And the offense goes back out there. Milton now 8 of 17 for 99 yards, but the 2 interceptions loom large. And Michigan rushing for under 3 yards per attempt in this contest so far. Pistol formation with Mason, the fullback, to Milton's right. Takes the snap, and he'll give it off to a running back. Picks up about 2 or 3 yards now, pushing forward for 4, Zach Charbonnet.
We said the first drive was a big drive. Every drive for Michigan, the rest of this game is going to be big. You have to score on just about every drive, every time you touch the ball.
Now Milton hurries up to the line quickly, but then he'll check the sideline for the signals. 20 seconds on the play clock, and again, this is where you're going to have to watch the clock if you have any realistic hope of trying to get yourself back into this game. Milton takes the snap. And he'll drop back to throw. This one tipped up into the air, and it's caught by the intended receiver for a loss of a yard, but it was tipped off a Badger hand. Very, very dangerous with 2 white shirts in the area. Eric All is able to haul it in.
You mentioned the time being an issue looking at the rest of the game. If you're Michigan right now, you want to cut this down to a 2-possession game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That would be the ideal situation for Jim Harbaugh and his team.
3rd down and 7.
But first thing you got to do, get the first down down here. Because you do not want to be pinned in your own end zone.
Mm-hmm.
10 on the play clock. Milton claps his hands and drops back. Now he's going to fire, looking deep into double coverage and almost intercepted. Instead, it will drop incomplete. Very fortunate it was not picked off. Safety was sizing that up like a center fielder, and I'm not sure if the Michigan receiver, Cornelius Johnson, got a hand in to break it up or not. Double coverage there.
Yeah, really, really tough play call there again. You're at 3rd
Yeah, that
and
was
8.
Cornelius Johnson coming in, playing DB right there.
Yeah, you're at a 3rd and 8 position, or 3rd and 7, and you run 2 guys. You have 2 guys running routes, and they're both running fades. You got to have at least 1 or 2 guys running 10, 11 intermediate yardage routes where Joe Millen can sort of dump it off to maybe have a more efficient, higher percentage chance of getting a first down.
Brad Robbins' punt will be caught at the 44-yard line for Wisconsin. That is not a very good one. A net of 37 yards for Michigan, and now Wisconsin will start in Wolverine territory again, and it has gone very well for them in this game when that has happened.
Haven't they started in Wolverine territory about 80% of the time tonight?
That is what it feels
Seems
like.
that way.
We don't have the actual stat, but I'm pretty sure 80% of the time Wisconsin has started in Michigan territory, and time is not in Michigan's favor right now. 7:24 left. Michigan's down 28-3. You got to get points. You got to chip away. And like I said, you want to make it a 2-possession game going into the fourth quarter if you want to have an opportunity to get back into this game and potentially win it, because Wisconsin, they have the lead. They're in cruise control right now, so I don't expect to see the ball thrown too much in the air, because you do not want the clock to stop. That's the last thing you want to happen for if you're Wisconsin, is you want the clock ticking. You want to see double zeros on the clock. You want to get back on the plane and head back to Madison 2-0 on the season, and they're pretty close to that.
Well, again, just about 8.5 minutes have ticked away in this half, but it feels like a lot has happened. Time of possession has trended closer. 22 minutes Wisconsin, 15.5 Michigan, but Wolverines still aren't making much happen, and if Wisconsin can go down, score a touchdown here, that seals the game beyond what it had already been sealed.
Yeah, Michigan making up ground in the passing game, having 98 yards to Wisconsin's 90, but the ground game for Wisconsin has really solidified this game, where they lead 174-46. And Michigan, a Jim Harbaugh team, is traditionally like a on the ground running team, and to only have 46 yards is not Jim Harbaugh liked. And
Yeah,
it's a big question: is who's not QB1, running back number 1? And it seems like it's Blake Corum, and then Zach Charbonnet comes in and he has a couple of spurts where he, like, who knows?
In this situation, you can't fault the running game too much. When you start off to a quick 14-0 lead and you got to come back, you typically have to pass the ball a lot. So the game script doesn't really call for much running. So I don't hold too much against a running game right now because they're 47 yards, because they've been having to play from behind. They're going to have to throw the ball and try to play catch up. But tying back to the running back one conversation, it's hard because you want to feed the guy that's hot, and like that's the thing I was calling for earlier in the game. But in this game, they're all kind of serving their own purposes. I mean, Hassan Haskins is the one guy that has not been involved at all. I don't believe he's had a carry yet.
I believe he has had one.
He has one carry for 6 yards. But they all serve their own purpose. Haskins is the balance guy. Charbonnet is the power guy. Evans is the pass catcher. Corum is the speed off the edge guy. Where it's hard because you want to get a guy going, but you do understand they all serve different purposes.
Mm-hmm. And Blake Corum, only being a freshman, he's gonna be special for
the guy can wheel,
Michigan.
man. The guy is fast. There are so many fast prospects in that, in those two classes. You got Sandra still, Jackson, Roman Wilson can fly, Henning can fly, Corum.
Back to the action. Mertz under center as Wisconsin lines up for the first snap. Play action. The quarterback waits. Now he's going to get hit from behind by Carlo Kemp, and that will be a Michigan sack. A 4-yard loss as the pressure came off the edge. And it'll be 2nd and 14.
Yeah, first sack for the Wolverines since Minnesota, and that comes simply because of a coverage sack. They run a play action with only 2 guys running routes, and both of them are covered, and Michigan converts on a great coverage play and gets a big sack.
Is this the first time Wisconsin's behind the chains?
It feels like it.
It probably is.
2nd and 14 from the Michigan 48. Wisconsin still has great field position, but now in a tougher position to try and convert for the first down. Mertz takes the snap, and he will give it off to the man running to the edge. Danny Davis went out of bounds, and I think that's going to be a late hit on Michigan as he got driven into his own bench area. Vincent Gray drove him out. I'm not sure who the one was that came in and hit after the play. We'll see if the referees do indeed assess this penalty as they talk. Yep.
Again, a mental mistake.
Yeah, when you're down 25 points.
It'll be a late hit out of bounds after the play. 15 yards added to the end of the run. He went out around the 37, so it'll be tacked on from there. See where they mark him officially.
Again, that falls on the coaching staff for me. You cannot let your players, you instill that in your players that you don't make mental mistakes. That is another really bad mental mistake for Michigan. Those are the type of things that are adding up to these poor performances.
And that's by Brad Hawkins, a senior for Michigan.
Especially for it coming from a senior.
Now, 1st and 10, they put him on the 26. Now Wisconsin's going to run an end around. Danny Davis has got some running room. He's at the 20 trying to turn the corner. He'll run out of bounds at the 15. And Michigan is just getting tricked by that over and over and over again. Wisconsin is testing the edges nonstop on end arounds and jet sweeps, and they're getting yardage.
Yeah, what it comes from is you got to have either a cornerback or a defensive end having outside contain. As soon as you lose that outside contain on a reverse like that, it is absolutely over. And that comes from number 91 on to Michigan. Taylor Upshaw, again, losing contain. He kind of sucks down that defensive line and runs straight at that running back who got the ball originally. Once he commits to that running back, leaves the outside wide open. And Davis gets a big run there for Wisconsin.
1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. 5:30 to go in the third quarter. And now a timeout coming by Wisconsin. Man, this third quarter is just taking forever.
Good awareness, though, by Graham to kind of signal that out, say, hey, we're running out of time for play clock, to signal to his coach, call for a timeout. So, second game, props to him.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks really, really good. I'm really impressed. And he even came in as one of the higher touted freshman quarterbacks in that recruiting class. And I was a big fan of Graham Mertz, and I knew he was going to make a difference for Wisconsin. And so far, he has been really, really good.
Wisconsin outgaining Michigan now by 155 yards, 279 to 144. And it's all a story of the ground game. Wisconsin's running for 6.8 yards a pop. They'll have 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line, just about 20 minutes left in this game, and they can go up 35 to 3 if they can convert right here, which would still be 4 scores, technically 4 touchdowns with 4 two-point conversions, but it would be effectively a 5-score game. Mertz under center. Motions a man across yet again. This time they'll give it to the running back, and he'll just pick up 1 yard. Michigan's ends got in there quickly. Upshaw helps bring him down.
So is this the most 2020 thing ever? Looking at the Big Ten standings, Northwestern undefeated at the top of the Big Ten West. Indiana undefeated on the Big Ten East.
Yeah, there you go.
It'll be a fun Big Ten championship game.
Wisconsin plays Northwestern next weekend.
Well, that's the same week as Ohio State, Indiana.
Yep. So we'll know who the top dogs in the Big Ten are.
2nd down and 9 from the 13. Mertz takes the snap. Michigan brings some pressure, fires to his tight end.
Great
down
catch.
the seam, caught, touchdown, Wisconsin. That looks like Jake Ferguson, the tight end in the end zone. A nice leaping grab, beautiful pinpoint throw, and it will now be 34 to 3 with the PAT upcoming.
Beautiful throw, even a better catch. Just an insane catch right there. Leaps up into the air. It looks like it was overthrown, but just his height right there helps him out, brings it in. And that's probably the final nail on this coffin for Michigan's comeback tonight, as a five-score game is
tough.
That's
one of those throws though that looks like it's being overthrown, but is actually executed perfectly, right out of Cam McGrone's, wingspan, or stopping him catch from blocking that ball, and right into Thompson's wheelhouse. Beautiful pass, beautiful catch, like you said, Amir. Perfectly executed.
Colin Larsh knocks that one through, and it's 35-3. Badgers on top. 4:45 to go in the third quarter, and we haven't talked about it much on this broadcast other than hinting at it, but certainly a lot of questions will now be coming out during the week about the future of the program, who the coach will be after the season, because this is quite jarring.
This is not the type of reaction that you thought a guy who is in question for his job, a guy who was on the hot seat, this is not the performance you thought that he would get in a big game at night against a top 15 team. You would think they would come out more prepared, and they simply are not. And that simply falls on the coaching staff and nothing else.
100%, Andy. I agree with you. If you look at this, I'll say it again. Which team was out for 2 weeks? Which team they had to cancel their last two games that didn't practice for 2 weeks? It looks like Michigan was off since Minnesota. Like they haven't played at all.
And the Badgers will kick this one away. That one will go into the end zone again. No chance for Jackson's return, and Michigan's offense will start from the 25.
You mentioned the distractions now that are going to grow with what's the future of the program. Is Harbaugh going to be around? And from what I've heard, and we've all heard it, it sounds like the people that make the decisions are still Team Harbaugh. I'd love to talk to him after tonight's game because it's just ugly. 3 points this whole game. And it's self-inflicted wounds. That's all it really is. You go back to the first quarter, 2 interceptions. The first one was a good throw by Joe Milton, just couldn't haul it in. And the second one is all on Joe Milton. He did not see the Wisconsin player, just hit him right in the chest.
And this is a new quarterback. This is Cade McNamara, and his first throw is complete to Ronnie Bell out to the 45-yard line. Nice little dart there, 22-yard pickup.
This is something that is interesting to bring up. What do you think Dale McCaffrey's feeling right now? A guy that was supposedly going to be the starting quarterback coming into the season.
I don't think he's too disappointed about his decision to leave.
That, and is he even laughing a little bit? I mean, he was supposed to come in to be a starting quarterback. Is now his team that he's not starting for is doing very, very poorly.
Now McNamara takes the snap, hands it off to a running back trying to cut outside, and picks up maybe a yard.
We talked about it at halftime. So Dylan McCaffrey was the backup quarterback last year to Shea Patterson. What did Dylan McCaffrey do to lose that job?
I don't think it's necessarily what McCaffrey did to lose it. I think Joe Milton's skill set was so intriguing for this Michigan staff. He is a tall, athletic, very, very strong-armed quarterback that has all the intangibles of being a pro-style NFL quarterback.
Now McNamara takes the snap, rolls out to his right. He's got a man down the field, throws, and it's complete inside the 25-yard line. That's an impressive throw from McNamara on the run.
I see you, Cade, coming in. 2 sharp throws to start off the game. That was very nice, my man.
Question for you, Andy.
Let's hear it.
Do you think Harbaugh's decision to put Cade into this game was more of, hey, Joe, it's not your night, and we're going to give Cade some experience, or did he bench Joe Milton because
Joe, it's not your night. The game is out of hand. Let's get some experience for Cade.
Yeah, I think that is certainly what the dialogue was. McNamara motions Bell in motion, and then he'll fling it towards the end zone. Got a man deep, throws, caught for the touchdown. And quick 3 passes for a score, and Mike St. Ristel is the one for the touchdown.
How insane was that drive? What was it?
Dude.
Three plays, 3 plays, and we have a score?
That was, wow.
I mean, I don't know. It's one of those situations. It is so much easier for a backup quarterback to come in a game like this.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're playing completely freely. You're down 32 points. There is no pressure on you at all. If you play poorly, you just lost. You're playing in a game where your team is losing like crazy and there's nothing that can go against you. But if you come in and play great like he is right now, everybody starts begging the question, is he the guy? And he looked pretty darn good that first.
Was a good
first
catch,
possession.
though, too.
It was a great catch. You got to give credit to Mike Sanders still. Beautiful catch.
Sanders still with the
And Michigan will be going for 2. McNamara takes the snap. Will throw for the end zone's got a receiver.
I mean, beautiful pass.
Caught. And it's good.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not calling for Cade McNamara to get the job here, but that is a very, very good drive. You have to remember, there is no pressure on Cade's back right now. There's no pressure at all. Joe Milton has all the pressure in the world. Nobody loves a backup quarterback more than a team's fans.
And you know who was the first guy out there congratulating?
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton. Yep. First one out there.
And that's quite startling because we saw McNamara come in against Minnesota. His throws that night were not great, but here he comes in, looks a lot sharper.
I guess we were right when we were talking about the first half when he was warming up. He was
just always. Well, also the thing is, you never know when your phone's going to get called. You never know when you are going to have to be the guy that steps up. So you always got to be warm. You always got to be ready.
Yeah, and I guess good call by Jim Harbaugh to get some energy into this game, bring in a new quarterback. Game is technically out of hand, but get him some experience.
Yeah, impressive drive.
Wisconsin looks like they might be ready for
the game is still not out of hand here, fellas. They brought it down to 24. The possession right there, that was a key 2-point conversion. Now if Michigan goes back and scores again,
if they get one more score
conversion, it's a 2-possession game at 16 points. So I see why Michigan had a 2-point conversion. They're good play call by Harbaugh and Gaddis.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, if they can cut it down to a 2-possession game going into the fourth quarter, we still got a ball game.
Yep.
I mean, the big question is, can Michigan get any stops defensively?
The key question.
And can they get a turnover that goes their way? Because the 2 turnovers that they forced
were called back
and overturned.
Kickoff goes into the end zone. It should be noted that neither of those turnovers were really even close to turnovers.
Yeah.
No.
Mostly called that way on the field because of some very strange officiating. But regardless, Wisconsin will start with the ball at the 25-yard line. They are now at 6.1 yards per play.
Mentioning the officiating, they've done a solid job for the most part. You know, they've let the guys play. They've had, I think, 1 pass interference call. They missed one that Michigan in the end zone that they should have called. But overall, solid crew.
Yeah.
And Mertz is under center. He'll hand it straight off to a tailback. Goes forward for 3 yards.
And you can expect a lot more of that. Just hand it off, get the yards. I mean, when you can get 3-4 yards on the first down, make it manageable.
Well, one thing you see in that play, I really, really like Chris Hinton. I think Chris Hinton's got a really nice future for Michigan. He was a borderline 4 to 5-star last year. Really, really good push up the middle there for him. Kind of disrupts it. Fortunately, it was a really nice cutback for Wisconsin. But that's a really nice play, and that's a really good thing to see here for Michigan.
Jalen Berger picks up 3.5 on that play. Second down upcoming. Clock ticks to 2:20. Mertz takes the snap, hands it off. And the running back again just juking forward maybe a yard. Now it'll be 3rd and 5. Clock ticks to 2 minutes exactly. Taylor Upshaw on the tackle. Wisconsin approaching 300 yards of total offense.
God, if Michigan can get a stop here, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, this is a big moment for Wisconsin to get a first down, keep the clock rolling, and keep marching down the field. Michigan will go with the pass rushing unit. Julius Welshoff onto the field next to Carlo Kemp in the middle. Upshaw off the right side. Mertz takes the snap. Well protected. Now he's going to roll out to his right. He's got a receiver, but well covered, and that throw not terribly accurate. And that'll be a 3 and out. Michigan can get off the field.
Yeah, very nice decision there for John Ross. He was the one out in coverage. It was about a 5-yard out, right at the first down marker. Now, Graham Mertz is rolling exactly towards him. So Ross has a decision. Does he go towards Graham Mertz, or does he stay in coverage? Actually, it's Brad Hawkins, excuse me. Does Brad Hawkins converge towards Mertz, or does he stay in coverage? If he goes towards Mertz, trying to make the tackle, Mertz is simply going to flip it over his head, flip it to the wide receiver, and get the first down. Instead, Hawkins stays on his guy and forces Mertz to make a tough throw, and he makes a play. That's a really disciplined play by Brad Hawkins, and a great overall drive there for the Michigan defense.
And now Michigan comes after the punt. They hit the punter. Flag comes out. That's going to be a first down for Wisconsin. Giles Jackson still with a chance to return it, and he gets planted by 3 Badgers there. Just a disastrous play all around. But at the end of the day, I don't think you can fault them for trying to block a punt when you're down 24 points.
Interesting. Is it roughing or running? Running with the kicker. So
running.
It's 4th and 5, so it may be 4th and inches here.
No, it'll be a first down.
First down, okay.
Because they'll just add 5 yards and round up.
Self-inflicted wounds. Yeah. That is a summary tonight of Michigan's game, because the defense did everything exactly that they were supposed to do. They had Wisconsin pinned, great defensive stand, and now Michigan was going to get the ball back with 1:22 left in the third quarter, and with Cade McNamara just coming in there, 3 passes, getting a touchdown, there was energy. And then it just gets deflated by running into the kicker. But they almost got the block. So,
yeah, you can't fault the Michigan special teams unit trying to go for a block there. If you get a block, you change the game completely. You make this a 2-possession game, barring, obviously, a 2-point conversion. You can't fault them there. Sometimes your momentum carries into the kicker. You get a running into the kicker, and it turns into a first down. Tough break there for Michigan.
Now Mertz under center. He'll hand it off to the running back. And again, only about a yard there, but that'll roll another 40 seconds off the clock as we tick down to the end of the third quarter.
How big is it that Michigan is missing Aiden Hutchinson and Kwity Paye?
I mean, the pass rush certainly is not at the same level, but you also have to talk about the attention those 2 guys bring for the defensive line. There's less one-on-one situations because there's not as much people. There's not going to be 2-on-1 situations.
Mertz flings this one, got it complete for a short gain, about 7 yards.
Yeah, like I was saying, in a lot of situations, Kwity Paye and Aiden Hutchinson, they draw a tight end in a tackle. There's still 2 guys. They're getting double blocked, where without that, you don't really need a tight end to come in and block a weaker defensive end. You can split out another wide receiver, another option in the passing game, or you don't bring that guard in to double team anybody. It just kind of opens up the rest of the offensive line to block completely everybody on the defensive line. It brings a lot of 1-on-2, 2-on-1 situations for the offensive line.
Now 8 seconds remaining, and that will tick down to the end of the third quarter. Our score after 3, Wisconsin 35, Michigan 11. You're listening to Michigan Football on WCBN Sports.
Big third down play coming up, starting off the fourth quarter. Michigan needs a stop. They need to get it. And, the defense, the second half has done much better compared to the first half. But could that be also because Wisconsin has taken their foot off the gas just a little bit?
Well, Michigan, if they lose this game, and this is an important thing to think about, Michigan will fall to 10-9 in their last 19 games if they do indeed lose this one. What was their 19th game ago? Ohio State 2018.
They win that game, they're in the Big Ten championship and have a possible chance to go to the college football playoff. And that was, you could argue, that is a turning point. That was a game where Michigan should have dominated. They should have won. All signs pointed at a weaker Ohio State team that year.
Yep.
Remember, they almost lost to Nebraska. Almost lost, depending on a 2-point conversion, to Maryland. Played a really weak game against there's Maryland, Wisconsin, or Maryland, Nebraska, one other team in there. And it was a really, really poor Ohio State team that year. And Michigan was on the up, playing really well. They lost the game to Notre Dame, had a really good season, continued to grow, beat Penn State by a lot, beat Wisconsin by a lot, and then just kind of laid an egg against an Ohio State team. And since then, like you said, 10-9. It's not great. On the big board right now, they're showing the old clips of the Blues Brothers rendition with all the Michigan fans in the student section going crazy, and I think a lot of people in Michigan right now are missing that. I think the team is missing that energy. I think the students themselves, the fans themselves, wish they could be in the big house right now supporting the Michigan Wolverines, and it just seems like a different atmosphere. It doesn't seem, but it is a different atmosphere here in the big house, and it's not helping the Wolverines whatsoever.
With that clip, it just hit me like
me too a little bit.
Like this is November football. We're playing in an empty big house with, friends and family of the team, but
there's less than, excluding the players and staff, there's probably less than 200 people in the stadium right now. Less than 300.
Yeah,
it's different.
But that's the situation, and that's what we're living in right now. We have to remind ourselves that we are living in a pandemic, and that there is bigger things out there than sports. But it is nice to have kind of that sense of reality with sports back, that it gives you just a couple hours to step away and kind of forget everything that's going on in the outside world. But when Michigan's struggling like this,
it's hard.
It doesn't make it any better.
Like we said earlier, going into the fourth quarter here, there still is a chance. There still is it's a bleak chance. It's not a very good chance, but if Michigan gets a stop here on 3rd and 3, we got a 24-point game. It's a 3-possession game for on all of your 2-point conversions. You never know what happens in college football. Michigan still got all 3 timeouts. You never know what could happen with an onside kick. If Michigan gets a stop here, there's still a chance.
Yeah, going back to the fans and the empty stadium is like just coming from playing sports in high school, and just like imagine playing in front of 110,000 fans the prior season, and then now coming back and playing really in front of nobody other than your close family. But how much you feed off of that when you get a good hit and you drive your opponent into a ground, or you get a big turnover. Like, it's just the energy that the team is lacking right now. There's a lot of other stuff, but that's a big part.
The thing is, every single team is going through the exact same thing now.
Yeah, this is not a Michigan thing only. It's everybody, every sport.
3rd and 3 out of the timeout. Mertz will hit a man wide open. That's the fullback Stocky, and he runs well into Michigan territory, driven out of bounds at the 41-yard line. He picks up about 19 or 20 yards on that play.
Again, really, really nice play-action play there, 3rd and 3. A lot of people expect Wisconsin to run the ball. They put a guy in motion from left to right, fake the ball going right. Really nice cross route from the tight end. Wide open, converts into about a 15, 16-yard play there. Great execution for Wisconsin, continuing to do efficient plays in the play action.
It's a very similar play to the one they ran for a touchdown earlier in this game. Wisconsin's done a lot of the same things over and over again, and they have continued to work. And now into Michigan territory, 14-20 to go. They can run a lot of time off the clock if they continue to move the ball effectively on the ground. This will be a handoff to Jalen Berger. He'll fall forward for close to 5 yards. 2nd down and 5 upcoming. That's down to the 36-yard line.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I would like to say that the Michigan defense have stirred up the running game, and they have. But Wisconsin's doing exactly what they want to do. They're getting 4-yard, 5-yard pops where you continue to get 3 rushes for 4 yards to get 12 yards to get a first down. You move the clock, you move the chains, and the game just makes it impossible. It makes it impossible for Michigan to come back.
Mertz under center with 10 on the play clock. Motions Danny Davis across the formation. He'll give it to Davis. He's got some blockers in front of him. He'll get another first down past the 29-yard line, which is where he needed to get.
So some positive things for the Michigan defense is they have slightly improved since the Michigan State game. But slightly is not going to cut it.
Again, we have to remember there were 2 really, really bad turnovers that gave Wisconsin the ball in plus territory. Essentially, this is like a 21-point fault from from their own fault. They get up 21 points.
Wisconsin is not torching Michigan down the field, but they're also getting 6 yards per rush, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's like they figure out one thing, and then Wisconsin comes and hits on another.
Mertz takes the snap. Danny Davis, that's the exact same play again, and Davis wiggles forward now close to the 20 or 21-yard line, that'll be 5 or 6. You're getting 5 or 6 per rush. I mean, again, you don't need to throw the ball much when you're paving the opponent.
You have to think, too, a big thing that's been really has helped Wisconsin's running game is they're being really creative with the run. A lot of teams in a situation where they're up 24 in fourth quarter, they simply just run dives up the middle, dives and leads and powers up the middle, between the tackles, not creative at all. Well, Wisconsin is running a lot of reverses, a lot of end arounds, a lot of fake gives, fake to the running back, give to the wide receiver, fake to the wide receiver, give to the running back. That's why they're getting these 5-6 yard pops. They're creative. They're unpredictable, and it's really benefiting that offense right now.
And Mertz hands it off to the running back. Very close to the first down. Looks like he got it. I think that's Berger. And it'll be a 4-yard pickup on 2nd and 4. Now another first down for Wisconsin. 12 minutes to go in the game. If they can run 2 more minutes off, then punch in the football. Yeah, that does it for the 3rd or 4th time to be the game over moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Going to the first quarter, Joe Milton threw 2 interceptions on back-to-back plays. And that resulted in 14 points for Wisconsin.
Under center now, it's the quarterback Mertz. I assume they'll keep it on the ground, and they will. Hand off to Berger. Stopped in the backfield, manages to fall forward back to the line of scrimmage, but the important thing is the ability to run 40 more seconds off.
Yeah. A nice little play there by Michael Barrett, the star of the Minnesota game. It's kind of slowed down against Michigan State and against Indiana. But that was a nice play there, filling the gap, getting Berger in the backfield.
Somebody down behind the play. That looks like Donovan Jeter. Trainers are now out there.
That's the one thing that's been happening in Michigan a lot this year. And it's not an excuse to why they're performing so poorly, but they have had a lot of injuries so far this year. In their Michigan State game, how many times do we see a player go down the field? Been 4 or 5 times. Quiddy Pay was down. Aiden Hutchinson Pay went down against Indiana. Hutchinson went down. Michael Barrett got hurt in that game. Jalen Mayfield got hurt in that game. A lot of key players for the Wolverines just not being able to stay healthy this year.
Yeah, and that goes to not having a traditional offseason. It's like,
sure,
COVID has affected everybody.
Yeah, your bodies are not as trained. You didn't weightlift as much. You weren't as physically prepared.
You're not prepared.
Not conditioned. Exactly.
And I forgot what the actual stat is, but, first half of the season, injuries are like way up compared to the end of the season where players are healthy, where they're in mid-season form. Yeah. They're clicking, and, you don't want to see injuries on any side. And looking at it from an injuries perspective is, do you come back, like if you're a potential NFL prospect, come back and say, I want to put on the maize and blue or the Badgers helmet and go one more time, if not having a traditional offseason, not having that traditional preparement, do I risk injury?
I mean, you got to think of it in the perspective of 2 guys right now. Quiddy Pay, who a lot of people has mocked as a first-round pick, and Jalen Mayfield, who a lot of people has mocked as a first or second or third-round pick.
Quiddy Pay has shot up the boards this season.
Do you take the risk of coming back to a 1-3 team and risking your draft stock of potentially getting a serious injury? I don't know if it was me. I probably wouldn't.
There's no right or wrong answer. I think it's everybody's personal decision to decide. But, if you're an NFL prospect and you're solidified, you're gonna get drafted.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Do you risk getting injured? And risk over reward. And right now,
I know, man. You have to.
It also depends
judge how much you love the University of Michigan.
I'm pretty sure if you asked them, would you want to put on the maize and blue one more time? Every single one of them would say yes. Heck yeah. No, yeah. That's the reason why I came here, is to play in the big house. Yeah. But you can look at players like Justin Fields for Ohio State. He really didn't need to come back this year. But he's going to help himself to potentially win a Heisman Trophy, to potentially be a second or be the second quarterback taken.
Well, you have to also realize too, the situations for Justin Fields is different from Jalen Mayfield's. Justin Fields has a chance to win a Big Ten championship and a national championship.
And how different is
Jalen
this team?
Mayfield's coming back to a 1-3 team.
How different is the Michigan team if you have like Nico Collins coming back and Avery Thomas? Does it make them better?
Avery Thomas sure is missed right now, that's for sure.
2nd down and 10 now out of the timeout. They'll start running the clock. Wisconsin can run 40 seconds off the clock if they want before the play. We'll see if they choose to. Doesn't look like it. Mertz will just give it off to a running back who's got some room. That's Berger heading towards the 10, cutting inside right at the first down marker. Looks like they'll give it to him.
Yeah, you got to give props to Jake Ferguson on that play. You saw Daxton Hill coming off the edge right exactly where the hole was going to be. Daxton Hill comes off that edge, and Jake Ferguson picks him up, kicks him to the outside very, very, very well. Gives a chance for Berger to hit that hole and get a first down. Those are the little things. It gets close to a first down, 3rd and 1. Yep. Those are the kind of things that really solidify a good running game. Picking up a blitzer off the edge right exactly where the play was going. Great play by Jake Ferguson and great execution.
Referees changed the spot there. Make it 3rd and 1. Mertz under center I formation. He'll give it to the fullback, and he'll fall forward for an easy first down. Big push at the line of scrimmage there from the Wisconsin offensive line, and the clock ticks down to 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah, seems like another Wisconsin-style football play. Fullback dive up the middle, gets a little cut to the left side, gets about a cut to the 3-hole, gets the first down. Again, moving the chains. What does Wisconsin do well? They get 4, 5, 6-yard pops, continually chew up the clock, move the chains. That's just a story of success in a situation like this.
The coaching staff deserves a lot of respect for this game. I mean, they've only had one penalty called this whole game.
Discipline. That's discipline. That's great, great football coaching.
And there's a handoff to Davis on the jet sweep, and he rumbles into the end zone for a touchdown.
We got the Wisconsin coaches right next to us.
Yeah, I was going to address that earlier in the game. If you hear cheering, we're not cheering. We were right by the Wisconsin, assistant coaches up here in the press box.
They've got sort of this opaque screen put on the glass, so we cannot see those coaches. We can see an outline of their bodies, but
every couple of plays we'll hear a couple bangs on the table, but it's been smooth sailing.
They've got a lot to cheer about in this game. That's for sure.
Colin Larsh to attempt the PAT. Wisconsin on that drive, 14 plays, 75 yards, and the extra point is good. 8 minutes and 24 seconds come off the clock. 31-point Badger lead, and that does it in this game. 9:36 to go on the clock.
Thank you for listening to me.
That's it for this one.
Yeah, that's all. That is the one thing, if you are looking for a drive from your offense, that is the drive you're looking for. Chewing up 8 minutes and 24 seconds off the clock on 14 plays. Perfectly executed drive there for the Wisconsin Badgers.
That hope that Michigan had of getting back into this game, Wisconsin stepped on their throats and said, not going to happen.
Not today.
You get an 8-minute drive going down for 75 yards. Not only did you take time off the clock, but you were able to run the ball. You were able to throw the ball. You made the big conversions. It's just a solid game plan. And
it's efficiency, man. That's
efficiency, and it starts from the top with the coaching staff, because you have all the distractions of not playing for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Not playing for 2 weeks. Michigan played. They were able to practice. They were able to do it. Another thing, these players look fit. They really do look fit. Wisconsin looks fit out there.
They don't look tired. They don't look gassed.
They don't look like they've missed a beat, and a lot of credit to them for sticking on with the game plan.
Absolutely.
Well, 9:36 to go in the contest, and we'll see if Michigan can get something going with Cade McNamara again.
Mm-hmm. And looking at the schedule coming up for Michigan, they hit the road to go to Rutgers on another night game. It's not going to be the traditional Rutgers team that we've been accustomed to, but as we get a little bit of rain here at the big house, wind's starting to pick up, shouldn't be any effect on the scoreline. But Michigan, their 4 remaining games is Rutgers, Penn State at home, and then Maryland, and then the game against Ohio State. Which
who would have thought that the easiest game upcoming on the schedule was going to be the Penn State Nittany Lions?
Looking at the beginning of the season, Penn State, we were like, that's going to be a tough game. Like that's like Penn State, James Franklin, he's got that team going. Like, they will compete with Ohio State. Like, they're going to be neck and neck in the Big Ten. But Ohio State is at a different level, and it makes you nervous going back to the preseason and the when we were like in the COVID Zoom calls and all that, when Jim Harbaugh and Coach Day kind of went back and forth, and Harbaugh called out Coach Day for breaking some COVID rules, and Coach Day responded with, "I'm going to hang 100 on you guys this year." And
Could happen.
yeah, it's looking like it.
So we do got a little bit of rain coming down. You were talking about rain in the Rutgers. We got some rain coming down here.
Well, Rutgers, I mean, that'll be an interesting game because they've had some sort of up and down results. A pretty shocking loss to Illinois today, but I mean, Rutgers only lost by 22 to Ohio State. They lost by a very similar margin that Michigan did to Indiana, and Rutgers beat Michigan State, and Michigan did not. So, you know, that's not a game you can laugh at.
Yeah, prime time 7:30 game at Rutgers. No, there's no fans. I know that the aspect of the environment is a little gone, but still, you got to travel to New Jersey. That's always tough.
Yeah, and Greg Schiano's got that team. He's
that is the other aspect, Amir. That's a really good point. That's a different coach ball game. That's a different coach team.
Then we'll go back to the same thing that's going around Michigan is how big of an impact does a coach have on your program? I mean, you can see it with Greg Schiano in Rutgers. I mean, you can only go forward in that program.
They're going forward, and they're going forward so far.
Kickoff is a weird sort of squib that lands around the 15-yard line. Michigan's returners will pick it up and run it right to the 25. Blake Corum was the one who picked that one up in front of Giles Jackson. The funny thing is, Wisconsin is at 5.9 yards per play. Michigan's at 5.6 yards per play. That's very similar, but Wisconsin has run so many more plays. They've protected the ball, they've gotten shorter fields, and they've finished drives.
That is a crazy stat to me, Trey. And that is a very, very similar yards per play percentage, or yards per play.
It's also inflated by the 3 passes for 74 on the last McNamara drive. And here he is to start this one. He's going to sling this one over the middle, and that one falls feebly incomplete. Looks like it might have slipped out of his hands as rain is starting to descend on Ann Arbor. Ronnie Bell, the intended receiver. And looks like an injured player for Wisconsin.
And then looking at Wisconsin's schedule coming up, as mentioned earlier in the broadcast, they go to Northwestern, undefeated.
Yeah.
Northwestern, and then they have Minnesota. Minnesota's having a down year with PJ Fleck this year. And then
real quick, Amir. James Thompson, defensive end for Wisconsin, is a player down right now.
Yeah, then
continue.
Then a big game against Indiana on December 5th, and then close out the season against Iowa. So, next week's going to be a big game to figure out if they
should win that game handsome. I know Northwestern's undefeated. I think they're ranked number 23 right now, if I'm not mistaken. But that should be an easy win, I believe, for Wisconsin.
The game is at Chicago, or at Northwestern.
Yep.
So, obviously this year it doesn't have that big of an impact,
but
it still is a road game, you know.
Maybe we'll talk about this at the recap, but the outlook of the Michigan season begins to look less important with every loss. I know, say Michigan wins out and they go 5-3. There's still not that big of a difference if Michigan goes 4-4, 3-5. It doesn't matter, but it just seems like more and more that door is being shut. This coaching staff's face.
What were your guys' expectations at the beginning of the season before they even played Minnesota? What was your expectation for this team?
I had 5-3.
5-3. I had 5-3, 4-4. I thought Wisconsin, Penn State, Ohio State, and possibly Minnesota. But at the end of the year, I agreed with Drain. I thought they were going to beat. I thought they were going to beat Minnesota and Wisconsin, Ohio State, Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with you guys. It's just saying, they're going to be right around a 500 team. They could squeak out a big win here, against a Wisconsin or a Penn State, where it should be close. But Penn State's obviously not the traditional Penn State that we're accustomed to.
But Indiana is a lot better than normal.
Indiana is really good. And Indiana is not getting as much credit as they deserve.
Well, they probably will after today going to 4-0. And certainly next week going to play Ohio State. But this Michigan program right now, you're talking about also with bowl questions. Just the simple fact is that they will fall to 1-3 with this loss. The Ohio State game looks increasingly unwinnable given the product on the field currently by Michigan. So then you got to win all your remaining games to get to 4-4, which is possible. I mean, Rutgers and Maryland are two teams that you expected to beat easily entering the year. So all you got to do is beat Penn State at home. But I'm not sure Michigan can beat any of those three teams playing the way they're playing right now.
No, something is wrong with this team. So we don't know exactly what it is.
I would encourage everybody to go listen to the clip of Urban Meyer talking about how players are never at fault at a program. There's always three things. There's trust issues, there's arrogance issues, and there's laziness issues. And that always comes from coaches building cultures. Like if you build the right cultures, you have trust, you have work ethic, and you have selflessness.
McNamara takes the snap, throws intended for St. Ristel, knocked away, and incomplete. Dante Burton on the pass breakup. Now it'll be 3rd and 10, 9:23 to go in the game.
Yeah, the coaches always set the tone. And every single team and every single culture, they set the tone. And right now, the tone and culture of this team is not very good. And who said it? The coaching staff.
You know, Harbaugh has lost his edge ever since the Ohio State game back in 2016 when J.T. Barrett was short. It's not the same Harbaugh that we saw with the 49ers at Stanford. And that's the Harbaugh team that Michigan really needs right now.
McNamara takes the snap. Pressure comes off the edge. He rolls out to the right. He's going to throw and find a receiver, but the pass is too low, and it'll fall incomplete, and now that'll be a 3 and out.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Cade McNamara is going to have to learn. When you are in a situation that's 3rd and 10, you never want to throw to a ball in a contested catch less than 10 yards. It's 3rd and 10. You could dump it off to a guy that's wide open that can potentially break a tackle or have a wide open field towards the first down. But you want to throw the ball at least 10 yards to someone in a contested catch situation. That time he threw a 2-yard curl that was never going to amount to a first down. Bad decision there, but again, learning experience.
Brad Robbins boots this punt away. It will be caught on the backwards run by the returner who just falls down. And Wisconsin will take over on their own 28-yard line.
Coming out of halftime, Andy, you alluded to it, was 28-0. This game was out of hand for the most part. I mean, if Michigan could have got a couple of things, but you alluded to it. It was when a game's out of hand like that, is you got to look at this now as like a practice,
a learning experience.
Is a learning experience, practice. Like, you know, do something that you traditionally wouldn't do in a close game.
Sure.
See if it works, and that's what we saw when Cade came into this game. Cade McNamara, you know, first drive, 3 passes. Leads to a touchdown.
Very, very good, yeah.
Now, Wisconsin comes out. Mertz under center. I formation. Expect a lot of runs on this drive. They give it off to the fullback. He's got a hole. 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, and driven down all the way into Michigan territory. That's John Chenal, tackled at the 29, goes from 129 to the other 29-yard line, and do the math, that's a 40-yard run.
Yeah, fullback dives that go for 40 yards traditionally is not good. That's not good for your defense. If the hole is that wide open, if your defense is out of cue that bad to where he gets a wide open hole like that and can take it 40 yards untouched, there are clearly some situations, there's clearly some assignments that are being missed on the defense.
That pushed Wisconsin over 400 yards. They give it to Chenal again on a fullback dive, and he picks up 6 on that carry. Now clock under 9 minutes remaining.
Is it more Michigan not being able to stop the run, or is it Wisconsin's offensive line is that good?
I think at this point the defense is just giving up.
Oh, yeah.
You have to give credit to both teams, though. Wisconsin clearly is a really good, efficient running football team, but Michigan is playing very, very poorly. Oh, yeah. You have to give it. You have to
a little bit of both.
Hand to a little bit of both. Yeah.
No, I agree.
And whatever fire Michigan defense may have had at the beginning has got to not be there at this point.
Yeah.
And it's deflating when your offense goes out there for 2 drives and they only have 1 possession. It's really deflating, and that set the tone for this game.
Mertz hands it off to the running back, Berger. He's got a hole. 15, 10, cuts it up, 5. He'll walk into the end zone untouched. And Wisconsin scores another touchdown. That'll put him at 48 points, 48-11 with the extra point upcoming. That drive took about 90 seconds to go over 70 yards, and Wisconsin will push the lead to the highest point of the football game.
So what's more uglier this year, losing to Michigan State or allowing Wisconsin?
This is excusable. Wisconsin's a top 13 team.
Yeah.
Michigan State's looking like one of the worst football teams in the Big Ten, if not the second worst Big Ten. Second worst team in the Big Ten, maybe Michigan being the worst.
And there's the extra point. Is good by Colin Larsh, 49-11. Wisconsin on top, 7:34. I mean, I think it's a double-edged sword. Obviously, losing handily to Wisconsin is not as bad, I think, in the abstract. But again, it's week after week the effort level. And
yes, that is a very, very important point, Drain. Like, when you lose a game like this, it just, yes, maybe your team got outmatched, but I don't think there's this talent. There's not. There's not a huge talent gap between Wisconsin and Michigan right now. It's not a 38-point talent gap. What the thing is right now, what Drain just alluded to, it is a team that doesn't have enough passion. Cannot match the passion, the intensity, and the discipline of this Wisconsin football team.
It's 100% discipline. You know, I've mentioned it multiple times. This Wisconsin team did not play for 2 weeks. They were dealing with COVID. They had a lot of COVID. They weren't able to practice. And when you go on the road to the Big House against Michigan, who has talent, and you put 49 up on the scoreboard, allowing only 11, when in reality should have been only 3, but they weren't prepared for Cade McNamara to come in there and just
dominate.
Yeah, just dominate, you know. But when you put up, let's see how many yards they got up there. When you put up 412 yards total, to Michigan's 219, or 435, just up there.
Now. Yep.
435, 308 on the ground, 1 penalty, 7 for 11 on third downs, and you're 6 for 6 in the red zone, and your time of possession is 34 minutes with no turnovers. It's a solid game, and credit for their discipline. Michigan's got a lot of questions coming into this game. They got a lot more now coming out.
Yeah, there's.
It becomes a question, Evan. We talked about this a little earlier with the job question, but the more games like this, the harder it is to justify continuing to have Jim Harbaugh stay on as the head coach, because it's not clear from this effort that he wants to still be this head coach. I mean, this is the performance of a coach that's 1 foot out the door.
You got to distribute, though, the blame across the board for other coaches, though. There's blame on Don Brown and Josh Gaddis. It can't all be on Harbaugh.
It does start at the top, though.
Yes, I agree. Most of it goes to Jim Harbaugh because this is his team. This
is the head honcho.
This is his program. He has a say on which coordinators he wants. He's got to keep his coordinators in check. If he can't keep his coordinators in check, how can he keep his players in check?
Yeah, that's a fair question, and this team just outmatched, and I don't know this for a fact, but it does appear that some of the parents who were here watching have left early. That does not look like as crowded as it was earlier in this game. But
2 things happened today. First off, Desmond Howard picked against Michigan.
Yeah.
And second, the parents are done watching their kids. Those are two really bad signs for the state of the Michigan football program.
Walking out right now. Oh, might as well beat the traffic. Oh, wait, there isn't any. Wisconsin will kick this one away, 7:34 to go. I read at halftime on Twitter, I'm not sure if this is a fact, but the biggest loss in recent, last 50-year history at Michigan Stadium for Michigan was a 40-point loss. Wisconsin's sitting at 38 right now, so that's something to watch.
When was the last time Michigan started 1-4?
Last time they started 1-3 was 1967.
Yeah, because at least the 2008 team won 2 games early on.
1967, 2 years before Bo Schembechler became a head coach. They have not started 1-3 since Bo Schembechler.
Kickoff is away. Caught just inside the 5. Here comes a really good return, 30, and the kicker has to be the one to make the tackle, and the Wisconsin coaching box erupts. He saved a touchdown right there.
It's true, though. It's good play.
Of course, the kicker is like, hey, I'm a little jealous. Let me get a hit on
let me get on the action.
Let me get on the stat sheet.
Yeah. You know, fellas, I'm going to pose this question, too, because I've been kind of thinking about it the last couple of minutes. Walking out of this game, can you name one positive? Is there one thing that Michigan can hang their heads on leaving the big house today?
Well, they stopped Wisconsin on the first possession. McNamara takes the snap. He'll hand it off to Blake Corum, and he runs right into a mosh pit at the line of scrimmage.
Blake Corum, he's going to be special.
It's fast. It's fast.
You know, he's fast and
still a few things logistically he's got to work on. His vision could be a lot better. He loves to bounce it outside where sometimes he can go forward through a hole for 4 or 5 yards. That play is a key example. If he bounces up the line or up the hole on the left side there, that's probably a 4 or 5 yard gain, especially with that explosiveness. He loves to bounce it outside, but Amir, you're absolutely right. He can absolutely fly.
There goes 3 more family members filing out. McNamara will hand it off. And, oh, right in the backfield. Blake Corum just annihilated there. A really good tackle. Looks like Colin Wilder with the stop.
yeah, Wilder.
Van Wilder? Just kidding.
He came through the hole and stopped Blake Corum in his tracks.
Now,
Stuffed him.
3rd down and 11. Michigan has gained -1 yard on this possession so far.
Is this 4 down territory?
No.
No, do you know what it is time for? The fake punt. It's time for the fake punt.
McNamara takes the snap. Pressure starts to come off the edge.
Beautiful
He wiggles
rollout.
around. It's got a receiver, hits him, but it's not going to be enough for the first down.
You know,
Gain of a few yards, but that'll be 4th down.
that was a 2-yard play. They didn't get the first down, but that was a really, really nice play there by Cade McNamara. He felt pressure from the left side. He spun to the outside of the pocket, rolled left, and flipped his hips, flipped his shoulders, and threw a beautiful, beautiful pass there to Ronnie Bell. Again, only 2 yards, but to have a great pocket presence, spin out of trouble, roll left, flip your hips, flip your shoulders, throw a perfect pass. That's a really, really nice play there by Cade McNamara.
So, as we have just under 6 minutes left in this game, that's over. But looking ahead, there's a lot of questions. Let's pose this question, too. Who's the starting quarterback next week?
Joe Milton's the
Is
starting
Joe
quarterback.
Milton's job on the line?
No, he's not.
I mean, I don't think you can fault Milton for a lot of what happened in this game. That one interception was very bad. But,
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, it's a team that can't get anything on the ground. The defense is being run through every week. I mean, what do you expect from him?
Yeah,
But
but
with
that's the important thing that Drain just alluded to. You can blame a quarterback if the loss is solely on him, which is a very, very rare situation. But if the passing game is poor solely because of the quarterback, then you can start making quarterback changes. But every single part of this game has been controlled by Wisconsin. Offense, defense, line of scrimmage, secondary, running back, every single part of the game, Wisconsin has dominated. Every single group has won. It's not just Joe Milton.
And Michigan will punt this one away from the 25-yard line, an arcing punt that will land at the Wisconsin 21. And nice punt coverage
There you
there
go.
from Michigan. Pins Wisconsin at the 20. I mean, again, you talk about Milton. If you made a list of the top 10 reasons why Michigan lost this game, Milton's maybe like, I don't know, number 8 or something on the list. The biggest problem is you've got Ronald McDonald as the coach right now, and everything else flows from that. I mean, there's no organization, there's no life on the sideline. The game plans are not secure.
I didn't say that Joe Milton, I would blame this loss on Joe Milton at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that Cade McNamara, what he came in and did, he made some good plays.
He did.
Yeah,
That's
he
what I'm
did.
saying is like
I said, though,
is it still, I don't know, the question would there be a quarterback position or
quarterback
Rain,
change.
yeah.
Rain really starting to fall here as Mertz lines up under center. Hands it off to a running back running to the right side. That looks like a new quarterback into the game.
Nice play there by Gabe Newberg for the Wolverines. Really nice tackle. Getting down the line in a really, really good way. It's something I always taught. When you're a defensive lineman, you get past you get past the hole, you get past the offensive lineman, you go straight down the line. You go straight down the line to chase down the running back, and Gabe Newberg did a really nice job doing it.
I think that's Danny Vandenboom.
Is it Dandy or Andy that's in there?
You know, that's Danny Vandenboom. You're looking at the Michigan side of the roster. You got the right number. It is 15, but Vandenboom lines up under center I formation, and and just gives it to the fullback, who's getting good push from his offensive line close to the first down. Set up 3rd and 2. Wisconsin now officially outgaining Michigan 2-1 in this game. That was the case early on. Now they have restored that edge. Big story, 7 yards per rush on the ground for the Badgers in this game as the clock ticks down to 4:25.
Another stat that's very jarring to me. Look at the time of possession. 34 minutes for the Wisconsin Badgers and 41 seconds compared to Michigan's 19 minutes and 45 seconds.
Well, it's kind of hard to have a good time possession when you have 2 straight possessions that are turnovers on the first play.
But it still hasn't changed much from the second half.
Wisconsin gives it to the fullback, and he grinds those legs forward for a first down. 4-yard pickup, and the clock will stop to reset the chains.
Let's go football right there.
When your fullback is able to get 3-4 yards after after the initial contact, you got to give credit to Wisconsin.
Yeah. Fun fact. The Wisconsin fight song is the same exact fight song as my home school, the Portland Raiders. On Portland and on Wisconsin. Unfortunately, there's no Wisconsin band where I can't hear the fight song and sing along my old Portland words, but
you know, why isn't the band allowed into the stadium?
I don't know. I thought the same thing earlier.
I can understand why they wouldn't be allowed into like Yost or Chrysler,
Yeah.
but the Big House, there's 110,000 seats in this building.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering about this earlier, why the parents didn't get to sit in that very empty suites all across the stadium. I get it's
Just
a closer view, but this game is 40 degrees and
Sitting
it's
out in the
raining.
pouring
We
rain.
want that energy. we had technical difficulties with the sound. You want them out in the stands.
Here goes Berger. He's running out to the 40-yard line, 8-yard pickup on first down. I mean, again, this is the sign of a defense that's really lost the will, is that you're giving up 8 yards when you know the running is coming because the third-string quarterback is out there for the opponent.
We've given a lot of credit to Wisconsin, but give credit to their parents, man. They have.
Oh, man, they're
still
staying strong
They're still
over there, baby. I mean, I'd want to stay strong and watch this game, too. I mean, it seems like at any point, Wisconsin running back can break off for a 50-yard. Shoot, the fullback broke off for a 40-yard run.
And it is cool to be in the Big House. Like, we are super lucky as students to be here. And just walking in, you get goosebumps, and it's amazing.
Not sure we're lucky to be here tonight, but Vanden Boom under center, I formation. He gives it to the fullback.
Dude.
And he'll pick up another first
We
down.
could be calling this game from the student section with all the cutouts.
That's true.
But they took care of us and gave
I
us
saw
a nice little
little
booth.
They got a little Kenny from South Park cut out there somewhere.
9-yard pickup.
Give respect to that.
1st and 10, Wisconsin at the 49. They are now at 464 yards of offense.
I can't find him. Where's Kenny at? You see him down there, Amir?
There's a lot of them down
Someone killed Kenny.
This rain, the mist is.
You have to bring some binoculars to see
We should have. Dang it.
those.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1:45 to go in the game. Wisconsin will run probably 2 or 3 more plays, however many they have to run. They're not intent of scoring another touchdown here, just running the clock out. There it is to the fullback again. That's stocky forward for 3 or 4 yards.
Bruising their way through it. About 1:20 left. They can kneel this game and call it quits.
Yeah,
Actually, they need one more. Yeah, they need one more first down. Technically, they would be 3 yards short. You can kneel it.
They have to hike this ball at 50 seconds, so it depends on how long the next play takes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you guys assume they're taking off time with kneeling or running. Doesn't matter. It's over.
They'll finish at about 6.5 yards per play. Again, Michigan at 4.9 yards per play, but the big story is just the big plays for Wisconsin on the ground, the ability to move the ball with these, and Michigan really being asleep until late in the second quarter offensively. There's a handoff surging forward. They're going to have to run one more play. The play clock's going to start.
Asleep. I don't even think they got out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 4-second difference between play clock and game clock. So Wisconsin, they could just run up right now and kneel it, but they're going to wait a while and then kneel it with maybe 5 seconds left.
Let's make our lives a little longer.
This game
Before we get to our post game.
Yeah.
Got a lot to talk about.
And here they go for victory formation at the Michigan 45-yard line. Snap from Vanden Boom. He takes the kneel.
I thought
that'll do it.
Thought the parents were booing for a second. The few Michigan parents that are still left.
2 seconds, 1, and this game is officially in the books. Our final score here tonight, Wisconsin 49, Michigan 11. Rain starting to fall in Ann Arbor, and a thoroughly beaten Michigan team will head to the locker room. They are 1-3 at the midway point of the season. A lot of questions. Can they turn it around next week in Piscataway?
Yeah, we got to – if you're a Michigan fan, you look at this game, you are severely disappointed. You have to realize that Michigan, this is not the same caliber of a team as they were last year, not nearly the same caliber team as they were 2 years ago. This is a Michigan football team that is lost. This is a Michigan football team that doesn't have that same fire coming from the top, like we talked about earlier, coming from the head honcho. This is a Michigan football team that just seems lost. Offensively, they're not efficient. I mean, they were outgained about, you said 2-1 drain.
Yep.
This is the football team that's not throwing the ball down the field well. They're not running the football well. They're not blocking well. We saw a drop that led to an interception. We saw an interception that was thrown at a guy who was not even around a Michigan wide receiver. This is a team that is struggling, that if lucky, they pull off 2 more wins, 3 more wins. This is a Michigan football team that's got a lot to think about. Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day for the Michigan Wolverines. When they look at film, there's going to be a lot of stuff to look at negative, and I don't know if there's a thing they'll look at positive. It's a Michigan football team that might go 1-7. This is a Michigan football team that might have a new head coach entering the 2021 season. There's a lot to think about for this Michigan program, a lot to think about in the front office, and we'll see the type of Michigan team that shows up next week against Rutgers. I'm not sure it's going to be a positive one.
Coming into this game, and we were talking about it before we went live, was what do we expect not only from Michigan but Wisconsin? What we got from Wisconsin was that Illinois game was not a fluke.
Yeah.
That they are a legit team. They are for real. But the questions are growing for Michigan. Harbaugh's seat, if it was hot last week, it's on fire now.
It's on fire.
It's on fire. It's burning, and everything else around him is burning. So it's going to be interesting to see what he says in his press conference. But also the players, they look defeated out there. There was no energy from the start. And it's difficult when your offense goes out. Your defense stops Wisconsin, punts it. Michigan gets the ball. First play, interception.
Yep.
Off the hands. Next drive, Michigan, same thing, another interception. This one was solely on Joe Milton.
Yeah.
He threw it right into the chest of the Wisconsin player, interception, and Michigan just fell off a cliff after those 2 plays, and Wisconsin never looked back. 14-0, they had a solid running game. They were solid in the air. Their defense looked great. Their offensive line is solid. They're one of the best in the Big Ten. Next week,
one of the best in the country.
Yeah. One of the best in the country, one of the best Big Ten. They weren't contested at all, really, tonight against Michigan. We'll see what happens against what we presume is a better opponent against Northwestern next week.
Well, that just about does it for our coverage here today. Michigan drops this one against the Badgers. Final score again, Wisconsin 49, Michigan 11. For our whole WCBN sports crew at Michigan Stadium, I'm Alex Drain, leaving you with a good night and a Go Blue.